Information to the school to be part of our discussion. School television. School radio station. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vonjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kebab, congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba. What I want? This one you got today. School TV. This one you got today. School TV. School entertainment.
A special one from the CEO, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
To the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vonjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kebab, congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Rastafari. Kilibaba, kilibaba, kilibaba. Kilibaba, kilibaba, kilibaba. What I want? Yes, what you about today? School TV. School. Yes, what you about today? School. School TV. School. Ba-da-ba-di-ba-di-ba. Skiddy-biddy-biddy-da-ba-do. School TV. School entertainment. Go to there. Go to there. On the spoon. Yes, I information. On the spoon. Yes, I Spoon television. Yes, I Spoon radio station. Spoon television.
A special one. Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, Stanton with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. The children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat keep gradually, my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibaba, kilibaba, kilibaba. Kilibaba, kilibaba, kilibaba. What I want? Yes, what you about today? School TV. Yes, what you about today? School TV. School ba-da-ba-di-ba-di-ba. Skiddy-biddy-biddy-da-ba-do. School TV. School entertainment.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, Stanton with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Africa. Just to spoon, to spoon you and no. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother?
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the South and Band. Charges on the beat. Well, folks, welcome to another edition of the program, Spoon Talk. We are live here on Fabric 101.1 FM, Spoon 107.5 FM, Spoon TV Live, Fabric Live as well. We are also live on Super TV, Spoon Talk page, and all of our platforms as well as YouTube. You can join us live. My name is Aaron Kuban. I'm your sound coordinator for tonight's edition of the program. I'm going to be alongside James Samuel Gude Flomo. Together, we're going to coordinate this edition of the program. Tonight's edition promises to be fascinating. Let me just join James Gude Flomo from across the world. James is in Europe. Okay. James, welcome.
Yeah, Aaron, how do you do?
I'm fine. I'm okay. You know.
You fine?
Yeah, very okay.
I know, right? All right, bro. We here. Another conversation is about to get on the way, and it's gonna be interesting though. Western cluster is gonna be on a template, and Senator Snow will come and justify why he had to do business with them. But before the team comes on, what are some of the training things that are happening or that took place today?
At the University of Liberia, it was a scene of panic when some students believed to be uh, members of the Student Unification Party invaded classes on grounds that the university's administration has allegedly failed to issue RD numbers to provisional students. As you know, James, people who take the university's entrance, once you pass a single subject, you are considered a provisional student, and then
Yeah.
after a semester, based on a grade point, you will
Mhm.
get, I think, above 2 point or so. Then you will be allowed, a regular RD number. And
Mhm.
the information we gathered so far is that those students have not been allowed to enter. Uh, those students have not been allowed to enter the university. That is to plan their courses for this semester, and that's the reason why the guys went and invaded the classes today. And another thing, according to them, some of the students that took entrance, so about two entrances have been given by the school.
Yeah.
Or yeah, Soup is saying that those are the number they are saying about 2,000 persons
Okay.
have not been allowed to enter the university since those entrances were given, and those students passed. The students that passed, about 2,000 of them, have not been allowed to enter the school. So that was the reason why they disrupted, classes. Yes, that was the reason why they disrupted classes, and there was a scene of panic. I saw a student, a female, going unconscious right in front of the CPAV area there. And
I'm told you took the lead in the running part.
no, James, James, we as media people, I couldn't be standing or running with the guys, so I had to, use a shortcut for me to get prepared to go live. That was the reason.
Wow.
That's
Sure,
just
boy.
that's why other guys are sharing fake news.
My
It's
man,
fake news.
students from the campus called me and say, my man, you have to look for medication for Aaron. Aaron was
So,
the point
how
man
will I be
injury.
afraid?
But
How
people
will I
got
be
injured.
afraid? And then I went live.
People got injured.
No, I didn't see any injured person. And up to now, I can't tell why is the condition of the girl. I mean, the young student, a female who I saw unconscious, lying. I can't tell what's her condition now, but I saw her. And so, yeah, yeah. But on that issue about the news of running, I ran to take position and
But
to
classes
capture the scene.
resume
No,
after.
no, classes did not resume. Right after that happened, classes did not resume. The students disrupted the entire place. You know, most of the instructors, once such a thing sparks on campus, once that those one are yes, those ones that do not have classes there at that time, maybe they
It
had
will
to
be
come
hard
in
for
the
them to
evening.
come.
They don't come. They don't come.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, it
they
will
don't
be
come.
hard.
Their belief is that even if they come, it will just be a waste. Most of the students might have left at that time, or maybe there may be a reoccurrence of what took place earlier on, and so they may not want to come there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those were the major one. I
The-
saw
the- the-
I saw.
another
Yeah, go
No,
ahead.
but I don't. Yeah, sometimes I don't want to go in depth, especially when I know the CEO will discuss that the entire team, and or maybe those things are on their plate. I can be the one to say that.
Yeah,
But Joseph
but
Waka,
just a
Joseph
summary.
Waka's photo coming on the social media, most of his, surrogates of the parties, um, posting his photos after the news went that he was ill. We know that he spent a day or two in the hospital and then he was discharged. And then today we saw Amara Conan, former finance minister, posted with him, and he seemed to be recovering speedily. The father of the matter, those photos that we saw with him walking along with some of his support, some of his office staff, some of his office staff, walking. Yes, it seems like he's okay, but I don't want to go in detail into that. Let me say uh, good evening from
James,
my end.
James,
Yeah.
well, I mean, what is he saying?
I'm scared.
You want talk, but you want talk. Talk.
He's scared. He's scared before Buhari
Talk.
even go after
They say
him.
that freedom. If the people eat the latest
No,
money, say, don't be afraid. They will just carry, they will just
no.
carry the food.
He's a
Yeah, see,
friend.
what I just want to be. I'm just being careful. Not because of those out there, but because you are the one that can convey most of these messages to the people.
Oh,
Oh,
you
so
scared?
I'm the
Yeah, so
Oh,
yeah, I want you to come
oh,
and be the one
so
to
I'm
tell
the
the people that.
conveyor. I'm the conveyor of bad news, right?
No, it's a good news. A former state man, I mean, a state man, as a matter of fact, former vice president is seen on social media with some lively photos. I saw him at one point laughing in some of the photos, smiling with the
I would
people
say
there.
this to you, though. I would say this to you. I was very impressed with those photos. I was very, very impressed. JMB pictures up and down, engaging folks. Oh, you just got to also understand that he's getting ready to travel to the great United States,
Hmm.
you know,
Return
uh,
fresh.
and he coming to look around for money, engage his folks. So people are doing. He had a swag today, they call it a swag. He was walking, he was engaging, he was on his cell phone. We'll put some of the pictures up, James, if you don't mind, please. Put some of the
man.
photo up. Let's show it. And
Let me.
folks consider James because he's on the other side of the river. So I'm trying to.
I think slow said to put the photos up.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
Jim, why you adding slow to put the photos up?
I'm looking for the
James
picture. Is
James
I
on the
just
other side of the river. That's what happened. But I would say to you,
I'm looking for
man,
the picture.
Helena Akibi, Helena, I'm always neutral. I try to be, it's kind of hard, but all you can do is just try. Today is Wednesday, the 18th, you know. So Peru, who's she again, my man? James, what happened? Put a picture out there, wasting that you see Aaron, what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
he has on intent, you know.
James Wabi.
And also, Aaron found James post today. They're picking that back again. We got well, but where is how you call him?
The one he
Where's the
did a
chairman?
commentary.
Where's the chairman?
The chairman was around just before I entered the studio, so I showed him out
Did
there.
he leave?
I'm not too sure whether he left or not.
The my second day at work and he leaving early.
No, I left him out the rest. Right in the newsroom.
I say the truth, man.
No, CEO. I left the chairman in the newsroom. So
Cornelius Hunter, Tricon Flammer Jr. Tricon, hey, you know this? James, hey, you know this guy, Tricon Flammer? He used to work for Spoon, right? James, I don't hear you, man.
Gee, oh me back. For me, tell the CEO.
And Tricon used to work for Spoon. I mean that he fired. The man used to work for Spoon, right? Oh man. I want to say hi to all the good people joining us this evening. This Ace the Spoon Talk will be hosting Edwin Melvin Snow Jr. topic, Western Cluster. Again, as you know, Mr. Samuel Jackson said he won't come on the show with Edwin Snow, but he will be following the discussion. So as you can see today, the JMB is laughing seriously. Something is seriously happening. Philip, I swear, why your puppet JMB laughing like that, Philip? But Aaron, I know the discussion though. I knew exactly, what was. Listen, Aaron, why do you think he was laughing like that?
You see, him pointed to he's pointing to the phone. Apparently, he's following some of the post, especially it might be Neymar Bowie's post. He's not
I thought James was worse. Aaron, you're just not better.
I was
just not.
You know, James trained me now. Why is true that I'm a journalist, but James posts on your things and email. So
yeah.
Sometimes I can behave like James, and sometimes I behave like myself. So, but
yeah,
I showed the bad president looking at the post on Neymar Bowie. He's laughing.
Yeah, I heard. So let's go. And he pointed to the post.
He said, "Hey, let it teach you."
But wait, James. Should I say, is the vice president pointing with his middle finger?
One, two.
It seems.
Yeah, the middle finger.
James, I don't want you to. James, don't say nothing again. Just go in the bag. Listen, I didn't say it. James said it. I didn't say it, please. James said
but it. Hey, you get two fingers after the finger are pointing. One,
man,
two.
leave the puppet finger, man. But we say everybody that was wishing me bad luck while I was in the hospital, from Kev Hassan down, I pointed on my phone with my middle finger. Yo, James, take the picture of. Hold that picture. Oh, no, James, put the whole picture there. I want folks to just pay attention to what he did. The Bible said, everybody, right? Look at that other boy, my man, lying. Say, not the middle finger. Well, Crawford, you better start. You can't see, eh? You want to put it back on again? Makani 5 finger. Well, listen. The Bible said, everybody from Kev Hassan down now wish me evil. He pointed the guy. Is that what that American in there or who is showing the phone to?
No, not Amara.
That American about who's that individual? Because that's not American. I think I will get this guy name shortly. Yeah, but no, James, that's not the picture. Put a real picture on. There you go. And then that Kev he pointed so he said that Kev. So that's why the Bible say, let me bring Leo. Listen, Kev, you need to reply to this one. Listen, no. I'm bad. Listen, I'm not bad, Philip. We are looking at the picture over here, okay? This is what makes the Spoon Talk so unique. You gotta look at everything. It's also entertainment. It's also entertainment. Listen, see what you want to say. Get mad. We have to have fun. JMB came from the hospital. People had the words to say. Some people said good things. But I know the picture he was showing. I know what was on that phone. I can tell you what was on the phone. And
JMB said, I'm still strong. If you think I'm not strong, look at this picture. And he used his middle finger, his right hand middle finger. You know what I tell you? And Papa ain't get but damn. Papa is still kicking. But listen, folks. Listen, I want to hear from Kev Hassan. James, put the picture down. James, can you create another slide on your other computer for us to see the picture where we see ourselves? Create another link. Go on your fake Facebook page. Use one of them. Yeah, man. Use one of them. Let me announce it that you get so many Facebook pages and things. Use one of them and create that link for us to be seeing that page. But Kev, they open using a middle finger, Kefiko, before snow come in. Let's have some fun. Kev.
That's the only way. That's the only way I can work. It's good to see.
Everybody that was saying you ever me. Oh God. Lord, Kev, can you say something? I beg you. Let me go back to Leo because we need to talk about this photo. It is important. I was going through the picture, right, Leo? And I came across that particular photo. I said, "What? The papa get that away." And then I called. I said, "Well, the discussion on the phone, what was it about?" And and I would tell folks today what they were talking about. But I'm telling you, indeed, whether it was intentional, don't hold me because I'm not going to say it. But I know the Oma get that away. Anybody say the Oma, they Oma get by, they Oma by. The Oma will put in a message out there, Kev.
It's good to see the vice president in that photo. We want him to be strong and contest because that is right. We are looking, forward to meet him in the race. So it's good to see him in a good spirit. He's laughing, and that's a good thing. That's what we want.
That's what we want, right? Yeah, you are quite correct. I believe, and another thing to add to that, though, he's very, very determined, Leo. They are getting ready to leave the country. He bring the full delegation. They are coming to the United States. I also heard that they will be adding Canada. I don't know how true it is, but he's going around. He's not even coming to the United States directly. He's stopping a few other African country. I can confirm, and then they're going to come over to America, do what they always do. And because it is important. Imagine with less than 10 months to the election, money is important. Connecting to all your international partners, very important. If anybody say, listen, I'm going to chip in 50G, I'm going to chip in 25G, you need that money. You need it. And no joke. Then you ask them about other issues. Then you discuss Liberia. So if he can stop in Ghana, like he did in Nigeria, if he can stop in Togo, I heard a senator is on behalf of JMB, went to Guinea-Bissau. And we got we are hearing that folks in Nigeria looking for money. So JMB leading a full delegation to come here to the United States to make this thing happen. But talk to us before we still got the link. He will be joining us shortly. But let's talk about JMB shortly.
No, thank you, Stanton, and greeting to all of your viewers, thousands of viewers out there. And Kef, good to see you as well. It's interesting because I'm just sitting here and just thinking when everybody was harping on when we said the video of the puppy in the hospital was not well placed. You see that picture? This is JMB telling you just before all the haters start jumping up, I am back. I am here. I am recovered. I was sick. I checked in the hospital. I was well treated, well taken care of. I'm back. And I think that's a good picture. I mean, the longer our elders can live, anybody who has older parents, the happier we are, the longer they're around us. JMB has declared that he's running for president, and we should expect no less from the Pape being someone who's experienced, been vice president for the last 12 years. But again, I beg the Unity Party people, the way the Pape coming again, y'all But someone a late press release.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do people say the vice president can be visited? You know, he would touch base here, even if not the final details. But just some heads up, because when I don't do it, the people will say the paper start talking to me with Boko Haram again, then you can't be fighting the people in the press. You do some kind of late press release to let people know, so at least people that stand on them can be able to say, you know, we know JMB will be in this place at this time, but we know JMB will be talking to the president, so no gossip business.
You are quite correct concerning JMB. It is important for them to listen to some of these suggestions because the last time JMB came, you know, they had a lot of open mic situation with Lobo. You had a haircut issue with Costa. So I hope they now, because I can say this though, I think now politically, Jacob Akori, and you know, who's the acting chief of staff or chief of staff, he's controlling the political affairs, making all those arrangements. You know, everybody got a role to play. If it is done well, I think he will score huge victory. But they got to be mindful because now that's America. You're going to do another town hall. You think you want to do another town hall and you want to just jam the folks. People are watching. But I like the pictures. I do. I would say to all of our followers, you know, it's on social media. I asked James to put it on our page. It is Photos the Spoon page. I mean, the engagement were unique today. He walked down out of his home. He had his file under his hand, going to get engaged with folks and having a conversation, laughing his heart off. It was unique, and the engagement alone was correct. So, Kev, but put all aside, Kev. Let's just put it aside for a bit, Kev. The overcoming, your take.
Uh,
The only coming to come to America now. Let's put the sickness business because we see that the photo cross order, he's strong, he's moving. Okay, he can go back on the soccer field. But now he's coming to America, his engagement. What are you looking for as some opposition to him? What are some of your anticipation?
well, at this moment, right? Uh, he recovering from the situation, and I agree with Leo that they should come up with something. We cannot speculate what he coming for unless they want people to make up some story. So like they need to come up with something. We don't know. Is he coming for further treatment? Is he coming for to do a more test or something? We don't know. They need to come up and let us know because look at the timing. He leaving Liberia less than a week from the hospital. Less than a week. So they need to come up. People they're hearing, they just say he coming, he do something in where he'll do something in New Jersey, he will do something there. Let it come up with something before other people say something. So uh, we cannot speculate what they coming for. Well, we know that he just left the hospital, and he's on his way to America. And initially, they wanted to come
But
for,
but
but
but Kev, they are saying because you're raising some good point, but they are saying these things were planned. They were all pre-planned prior to him going to the hospital. They are saying they had all this arrangement, even more to come. Okay, but because of the illness, they had to make some adjustment. So now they are saying, what are you asking for as an opposition? What do you want to see?
a clear understanding what his trip is about. A clear understanding what the trip is about. Otherwise,
Okay,
will leave room for speculation.
okay, all right. So Dr. Richardson, I know you're at work. I'm saying thank you very much. You are work. You're working right now. Just man, you're too strong. You just got back last night, Kev. Dr. Richardson go back last night, and she back in making money. Money's real. That Richardson, when you left, when you went back to the office, you saw all your check or that was direct deposit.
She keep
How
us
many
spending.
checks so far?
She
I'm
keep
not
us spending
even,
a lot. She keep
I'm
us
not
getting
going to I'm not going to disclose my personal information to the world. Okay? You don't know that the world is watching Spoon. But I like to tell the audience, thank you so much. It's good to be here with my fellow panelists. About JNB, illness does not discriminate. Anyone, whether young or old, can get sick. So I wish him again a speedy recovery. But I want the public to know that JNB is a public figure. So I know people sometimes get very jittery when we discuss him in the public. But like any public figure, like myself, like you, anyone, any panelist here, we do get talked about. So it is obviously the right of the public to know, how is he doing? How is his health going to affect the position that he's going to be running for? What plans does he have when he's travel? And all of those things, we have to be able to be aware for us to discuss his health here. So I think it's only important in this modern world to do that. Most countries, they discuss public figures, vice president, president, aspirants, everybody's discussed, even in the United States. So I think it is a good thing for us to discuss that in the practice of good governance.
You know what? I came across, and let me send this to James. This morning when I woke up, folks, just to add to what you are saying, Dr. Richardson, I woke up this morning and there's some disturbing news out here in America concerning Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton dying, that was the question, Kev. Former president, president of the United States reportedly suffered from major health issue following recent hospitalization. These people ask questions. So it's unique to ask questions. These, it belongs to the Liberian people now. President, vice president, all those folks. So they ask the question, they explain the reason why he went to the hospital. He had a UTI that turned into sepsis, and we all know what sepsis is. He on a serious treatment. He's not the same. People looking at Bill Clinton, that used to be so strong, moving here and there, and they're making some comparison. I would not go into it on this show, but they are asking important question because he's the former president. But respectfully, Leo, respectfully, they are not disrespectful to him. They are not jumping into his health record. They're asking open question. There you go. It's right there. They're asking a question. And Bill Clinton himself came out on Twitter and said, listen, I was ill. I checked myself into the hospital. I'm back. I'm undergoing treatment. And he said, listen to your doctor. Listen to your doctor. That's what he said. So I want to say to all, some people may be disrespectful, but it's good thing for our nation that will bring up this news. But Dr. Richards, I know you will soon be going back to class. Let me ask you though, JMB will be leaving the country pretty soon. He's coming to the United States in the next, maybe in the next week or so. He will be moving from one state to another state. I'm hearing what they're talking about: Pennsylvania, Delaware, Rhode Island, Texas, probably. He engaged in Liberians, Minnesota. If it is true, I mean, tell us a little bit of what you know or what you think this engagement would bring about when you talk about JMB and UP, because he's coming with some huge delegation.
I think it's a good thing for any leader or aspirant in Liberia to come to the diaspora and engage Liberians here. I would expect that he will be telling us about his agenda to make Liberia a better place. I would expect that he will tell us, I think he has this acronym called ARREST: agriculture, roads, tourism, sanitation. I think I would expect for him to go in details. And one of the primary questions I think he should anticipate others asking is, how come you have these plans now? What happened during the past 12 years when you were a vice president? What happened that you didn't, or those plans were implemented, or how were those plans implemented? So I think he should be open to just asking questions. I believe that many would challenge his leadership skills during the past 12 years and how he intend to change or bring the country in the next 6 years if elected.
When JB last visited the state, Leo kept, he traveled to, I think it was San Antonio, and they engaged some folks that were carrying some medical supply to the country, huge, different containers. Folks may ask though, have those supplies arrived? what have been done, and the vice president is coming again. But like President we are say, I should say the former vice president is coming again. So the former vice president is coming again. Therefore, then what next? Papa Nakam, we beat on President George Manawia. What did you bring back? And now JMB came first. He went back. We didn't see anything. Some may argue. He coming again. So can we ask the first question? What happened to those supplies? Your engagement with the folks, the deputy governor or governor proper. I mean, we didn't see anything. Would that be a fair question to ask?
Yeah, I think for me that's a very fair question, and that's one of my issues with all these visits. Like, instead of these guys being on the trip with these officials and political leaders taking pictures of themselves and Facebooking all the time and showing off that they are on the trip and they are meeting with BP people, I think their job is supposed to be taking notes, email contacts to follow up with. So the last time JMV came to the States, as we saw, in my opinion, his visit was grossly mismanaged. So those who were in charge, my
You
apologies.
said grossly
Grossly
mismanaged?
mismanaged, in my opinion. I went to one of the events in Minnesota. It started 3 hours late. Most of the people that came, one of the person who was even introducing the vice president, I think it was Larry Topa or somebody, spoke for almost an hour, 30 minutes. The main guest, the VP, spoke for only 20 minutes. We had the person who introducing the VP when I was there. Then they say I was present to it, I attended. So my thing is, the VP came here, met with a lot of dignitaries. And, some people, we saw him touring a medical facility with the intention of wanting to help Liberia. The VP went back. Has anyone ever follow up with the press or anybody to even say, oh, the thing we saw the last time, it came or it did not come or things fell through? So we need to ask those questions. People can come here and wave these things on the social media and say the VP is in discussion to bring medical equipment to Liberia. Then the VP return, it goes silent, nobody follows through. It's accountability. That's leadership. When you're president of the country, the same way we beat on the president, it's the same way, because this is the exact same practices that leads from being a political leader and goes into leadership that you see it flow over. So accountability is only fair. They better start briefing the VP now. What happened to all of these things that they were supposed to follow up, because fair questions to be asked.
Kev, I mean, I would not use grossly. I mean, that's Leo own term. I'm not going to go that far though. But do you agree with Leo? Because I think Senator Snow is getting ready to come home. Do you agree?
I 100% agree with Leo. 100% agree. You see, we there's something that going on in Liberia that we need. Some of us who have this media, this big mic, to educate our people, because when you question that, people say something. He went to this facility. I think it was in Arizona. He toured the facility. The pictures are out there.
You're talking about the supplies, right? It was Arizona. You're right.
Arizona. They put it out there. They say it's going to be on the ship. It's going to they did everything. They said everything. Nothing. Then you want to trust a man who can make those kind of promises and not deliver for over a year. I don't know what kind of ship would take 1 year, 2 years on the sea. But they're telling you he's the man. Our folks who behind this GMB winning all these games, playing all those lies, and then nothing coming out.
But Kev, I'll hold you there before I go to Dr. Richard. Say I think she just get another 10 minutes with us. But I will hold you there though. The supplies, right? From Arizona, Leo, stop looking at me, because this one I had to even spin the best way you can. What happened? Can somebody, if you follow us, please?
It was all of this.
What happened to the supplies, man?
No, it was all of lies. That's complete lies to the people. Nothing. The Union Party don't even have money to buy their own gas. Nothing. They'll just lie. They don't have no single contact, all those things. They just went there, show face, act like they're doing something, but just lies. So for sometimes when people say, oh, there's the JMB will be the best. 12 years, nothing. Since this campaign, let me just say the campaign start, but we can say yeah, the campaign start. Since that you see anything from the Unity Party to make you
No, no, it's too general. If you say you see anything, I think they are doing a lot of stuff. But I want to say,
let me hold you that.
no, I beg you, I gotta go to Dr. Richardson. It will more soonly also.
All the promises they're making, we will carry supply, we'll do this. You see anything? You see anything, Leo? You're telling me, Dr. Richardson, nothing. You're making promises to the Liberian people, nothing. So how can you come and just give for nothing a promise? Then you say I want to be president, and you're not doing anything, single thing for the Liberian.
I beg you, Kev. Somebody when I get an announcement, Kev,
you don't have it. Fine. When you pretending, taking picture, posing with picture, the surrogates were on Facebook. This thing will be on the way. Nothing. Over a year and a half. So we can't keep on doing this thing.
Okay, Kev. Okay, Kev, you have made you listen, Kev. Let's get Dr. Richardson. Symptomony. Thanks for joining us, my brother. Thanks. Dr. Richardson. Folks are calling me now. Say it's a fair question. JMB is coming again, though. Where are the first supplies? Where are the 14, 15, 20 containers that were on the way to Liberia? A ship full. And I just told the gentleman, I said, well, man, it wasn't a ship full, man. Maybe it was just 6. You don't have to exaggerate like that. Kept saying there were 100. And, whatever the numbers may be, Dr. Richard said, what happened? Is there a good messaging out there to say we will be? Kev, I'm not going to say that. Kev, hold on now.
Just say the people lying. It's just
let hear from Dr. Richardson.
Yeah, it would be fair for the managers, the handlers of JMB to put out public relations video that would tell us what happened to the medical supplies that he gathered from here in the United States. I if they did say that they were sending those things for Liberians, perhaps they have video, some kind of documentation to show us, where did those things go. I even think about a motorized canoe or boat that they had. That's stuck in my head because there was a great argument in terms of how much did the boat cost. I don't know if you guys remember. This was supposed to be conducted, I think, in River G. I think they had.
Yeah, that was a donation from the JMB Foundation. Yeah.
Correct. So all of those things, if we could have some sort of video, like a follow-up video that tells us, how the boat is running, how it has impacted the economy or the lives of the people in the area where the boat is, versus in the same manner, how does the medical supply helping Liberians? Which hospital, which clinic, what area did it donate these medical supplies? What type of medical supplies were donated to the Liberian people?
Did it reach Liberia, though? Did it reach Liberia?
Well, this is what I'm hoping. I think it would be a great thing for the Public Relations Committee if it did. But if it didn't, then why not? What happened? Did it not? I mean, was it a matter of money that
the only reason why we're having this conversation because JMB is on his way back. No, let me bring us into manager because Edward Snow is getting impatient.
He's in the back. Guys to leave if I can.
I know Dr. Richardson. Your class is coming up. But go ahead, say your last word before interruption, Dr. Richardson.
Well, I want to hope you guys, wish you guys have a great show, and I'm sure there's going to be a spirited conversation as usual. Viewers, thank you so much for tuning in and getting your information, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Thank
Dr.
you.
Bernstein,
Yes.
keep your eye on your WhatsApp, please. I'll send you something.
Okay, thank you. Tomali, hello. How you doing? Kev, hello.
Good to see you back, Special. Glad to see you.
And Dr. Richardson, on behalf of the network, to you and your family again, have our sympathy. We should openly say it today because since you came back, it's your first time to AB. We'll be reaching out. But please, man, it's a tough time. Whenever you go to Liberia, something happens.
I'm telling you.
And we want to say we share this time with you. But we'll talk. Have our sympathy, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Yeah. All right. So, but Tumani, the conversation, after you would bring in the Honorable Edwin Mervyn Snow. The conversation, Tumani, JMB came before, the HAR program. Leo, what's the word you knew? Gross miss.
I say it was grossly mismanaged.
There you go. That little on the word, grossly mismanaged. Then Kev has some brother, but the continuum four that's supposed to be going to Liberia and never reached. Question is, where is that continuum? Did it just MIA on the ocean? What's going on? Can the party say something? Can the GMB camp say something? Fair question. Talk to us, Georgie.
First, let me say welcome to everyone and good to be back on our platform. I also want to say praise God for the former vice president. We saw him pictures of him today, looking well, and tomorrow the former vice president will be getting. I mean, he said some endorsement and also some new parties will be welcoming to his party. And tomorrow will be a breaking news tomorrow. Former vice president will be some two important people tomorrow at his headquarters, and I'm sure it will shake the political world. But we leave that for tomorrow. But the former vice president. Yeah, he came to the States here to solicit. Yeah, I'm not PRO. I just saying, give my information. Give me yourself. Let me talk, brother. 1 minute you're accusing what they want. Now today, use our ANC men.
The way you say they will shake the nation.
Oh, tomorrow the picture of the
UP. Guys, let me just say something. Some of the things we know we kept quiet, right? Someone will come and say as if to say the heaven is coming on earth tomorrow. But go ahead.
But the former vice president came to the States, and he solicited some support. Now the question is, we should ask him or somebody from the party what happened. But we cannot just assume that he played a game with us or lied to us. Cannot assume. So it will be unfair to the former vice president to say he lied to the people that you're bringing something, he didn't bring anything. So I don't think it's unfair.
But nobody saying he lied. No. Sorry. Kev said he lied. Kev said he lied. You're right.
Yeah, so you cannot accuse him of lying or giving false information to the people. So
okay, where is she?
Tell the press people when he does video form vice, you ask him that question. You answer that question. But for now, we don't know. So leave the form vice president answer that question or
you know.
Kev. When you see any UP official, you ask that question as a former vice president, but you can't just accuse him of.
You're just saying.
So, Tony, let me ask you a question. Tony, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm the neutral one on the show, Leo. My question to every one of you, right? No, I agree. You sedition, ANC, now you UP.
The man said he's the neutral. You say you're independent, but the man said you're neutral.
Thank you. So, but my thing is that I just want to be fair, though. We have now, the ship never docked. Leo, the ship carrying those containers never dock.
And
I beg you, Leo, I won't bring it to money there. Somebody, you know something we don't know. Where is the container? We got no video, no picture, nothing. I'm not saying they're lying, Georgie, but I'm saying almost 10 months.
Yeah.
Almost 10 months. What happened?
Okay, there may be a lot of factors. A lot of this could happen.
Is that how you call it, the sickness? How you call the sickness again? Coronavirus?
Oh, I mean, you saw even the war in Ukraine affected a shipment.
Tell me, I beg you, my brother. Tell me.
All right, Tony, go ahead. We're listening.
I would not say the former vice president lied to the people. No, Kev, I would not say. Kev, you want to go there?
No, don't tell me, Kev. Let's see the one. Let me bring in Edwin Snow, man. You're too many. You said the war in Ukraine. The war in Ukraine.
When the war started.
The war is what? Listen, JMB stuff is almost 2 years. The war is just going to 1 year. And you said what in Ukraine?
A lot have happened. We don't know what happened. What are the glitches or anything that happened? Things will happen. So we hear from them. We hear from JMB or from anybody from his office to let us know. But see you. You get access to the people.
So, where is the accountability? When you come to the public and say we will do this, when you come to the public and say we will do this, we'll do that, where is that accountability from the JMB team? We will not be waiting to go ask West. That's the reason why before people come to the public to make big pronouncements, You must have a follow through. If you don't ask them, people will be left to speculate and make up their own mind.
So wait, have anybody have asked them questions? Say, well, Sergeant made a pronouncement.
Or did they have an obligation to update the public?
We should go ask questions.
You don't know what I
keep. Somebody.
You don't know what I
bring Ed Snow, man.
Who
benefit? What you said? You said we don't know what I came in the country?
Yeah. You have no idea.
Somebody stop, man. Stop. No. Don't do it. Don't do it, somebody. Go drink some water. We're putting in the back for you to drink some water. You can't just show and can't say, we know what I reach. So, wait now.
My question is, we got to ask them the question.
Somebody, you know what? Stick to your first question. Tell the people, say, you're going to ask the party. Don't say, we know what I reach.
Ask the party.
I don't want to say, we know what I reach, and that's correct. But man, sometimes it's hard to do this thing. But folks, we'll be bringing in.
They lie to us. No, we can't say
listen, that's what make me who I am, Leo. I hit on both sides. I think the JMB team and UP got to tell the Liberian people what become of those promises made when he first visited the country almost 2 years ago. Folks need to know what happened, right? Because imagine people are looking for supplies or coronavirus supplies, right? The PPE. People are looking for gloves and face masks and everything. And it's when JMB came to lobby for the people of Liberia. And up to now, we have not seen anything. I should be straight up. And, I love, JMB. I love folks in Unity Party like I do all other political party. But I think they owe the Liberian people some explanation. And you said it right. If for any reason JMB come to the United States, they should have a very unique plan, or else it will be so bad. All right. Edwin Snow is in the back. We'll be bringing him on. We'll be discussing Western Cluster today. Let me hear you first. Since you are one of the contributing guests on the show, Leo, Western Cluster is still out there. The Senator of Bombing, he's coming on to speak on some of the other issues.
Yeah, two things for me. The first thing is I was very shocked the first time I followed the conversation and saw that an MOU would supersede something that is a legislation, an MDA. That's my first time hearing it. The little I know about MOUs, they are gentleman-friendly agreements that when people don't want to be legally held accountable in a robust way, they do MOU so we can say we're friendly, working in a friendly way. So when I saw that an MOU came into play rather than an MDA being updated or being amended, or being made better, I was shocked. I was like, okay, why are you leaving the MDA and doing a whole separate MOU rather than fixing the MDA if something was wrong? Number two, I'm shocked that up to now, everybody's still running around with the blame game and who want to wash their hands off and who vests that they can be involved, rather than people saying, this is a mess. As leaders, what do we do? Where's our responsibility? The same thing that happened with the APM terminal. It took so many years before we heard some of the leaders saying this is the worst deal ever, and they participated. Western Cluster is a mess. At least all sides have agreed now that it's a mess. So why are leaders absconding, washing their hands off and saying the best because the role they played, they not acknowledge it? Why are they not taking responsibility and accountability as leaders to say, you know what, this is a mess and we all have to blame for it? That's what leaders do. How are we going to fix it? How are we going to work with the people of bombing to ensure that this plunder of their resources do not continue, and we should fix it and fix it now?
So thank you very much, Leo. So Tumalin, while I keep careful lies because Snow is coming on. He been following the show. He been going on all of that work. We had the last time Sam Jackson on our network, and he said Snow offering $10,000 as hush money, and he made all the allegations against Snow. Now Snow having an opportunity, invited him to come on. We can see you all look on Sam Jackson Facebook page. He say he's not coming on. But Tumani George, what's your take, man? This whole Western Cluster issues.
Western Cluster, we all know is first of all is a bad deal, and the people are bombing is at a disadvantage of the whole deal, and the sons and daughters of bombing, they need answers. I heard that they were filing an injunction seeking an injunction to ensure that everything means as a standstill. And I hope it wasn't Snow coming alone. You should bring the other member of the bombing caucus, the Senator Setuma. He been there longer than Snow, a senator. He been there from the genesis of this deal. But he shouldn't send Snow in front. He should be coming forward. He's the member of the caucus.
He's the chair of the caucus, yeah.
He should be the one coming, joining Snow on his platform, coming to face the public. He shouldn't be pushing Snow to come. And I'm disappointed that Snow said he didn't want he want to see Fagon to be part of the discussion, because they're all bombing people. They're all part of this discussion. I hope he could reconsider his decision and allow Fagon to come and engage him too, for the sake of the people of bombing, so we can find out common ground and find out what's happening and end this thing today. To know what's happening, And St. Jackson said earlier, he also told me that he wasn't going to appear until Fagon was part of it too. So I think we allow everybody to come forward and face each other and let the bombing people listen and hear what's happening. Because the D is bad and the people of bombing is not benefiting, and the government of Liberia too they are tail-lip too. We know from that end. So it's just completely embarrassing and a serious thing. I'm happy that we're having a discussion with them. I hope that they can open up and let everybody be involved and come and take part.
Thank you very much, Dominic. Kev, let me finish up with you, then I can bring Snow
on. To see the senator and Edwin Snow coming on Spoon, matter of fact, he made he called to come on Spoon. He made a request to come on Spoon. So to see he actually making an approach, to come on Spoon to tell and everything and speak to his people, it shows some amount of transparency in what he's trying to do. So for me, I welcome his coming on Spoon, and also he was looking forward to see Mr. Sam Jackson, because Mr. Sam Jackson know a lot of this situation, and he wanted, and Mr. Snow wanted to meet Sam Jackson too. So I am disappointed in that Mr. Jackson is not on the show to talk to the people or face Snow. That Snow I think wanted him. So for Mr. Jackson to back out and say he's not coming to face Snow, I think I'm disappointed in that too. I think Mr. Jackson should be on the show to face Snow too.
So I'm going to bring Edwin Snow on, but come on in. Sam Jackson spoke. He's his own man. Why would he say, since Fagon is now on the show, and for the record, Fagon is a contributing panelist. He's not one of our regular panelists. He contributes when necessary. So if Fagon is now on the show, then Mr. Jackson say, "Oh, I'm fighting for bombing. I'm not going to be on the show to fight. I'm not going to sit in front of Snow because Fagon is now on the show." To me, I think I just strongly believe that's childish. Once a fighter, always a fighter. You don't need Fagon. You don't need Fagon to come and speak to Snow or ask him the hard question. You don't need Fagon to fight for the people of bombing. Fagon wasn't there when you were talking about Western Cluster, facing Madame Salif, Boris, Tuman, Richard, Divine, all those folks. So don't sit here and say, "Oh, because Fagon has to be there. If Fagon is not there, I'm not coming on." It's discouraging. And I too am disappointed. But let me bring in Honorable Snow. Let me bring Honorable Snow, Kev, because he been in the back too long. Honorable Snow, Kev, hold on a minute. Honorable Snow, thank you very much for joining us. As always, we appreciate you joining Spoon Talk again. We show no side because this is who we are. We're going to ask you some hard questions. You open the door for Mr. Sam Jackson that making some allegation against you. You say you appreciate if he can join us, and I extend an invitation to him. He went on his social media page and say he won't show up. Uh, Equally so, I think it is prudent enough for us to have this conversation, because the last time you appeared almost 2 weeks ago or so, a lot been said on the show concerning you and your character and your position and in your office, all concerning the people of Bowman County. So, welcome to Spoon Talk. Let's have a great conversation. And I think the folks in Bowman will be glad to listen to you and to see the real Edmund Mervyn Snow when it comes to Western Cluster. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Stanton. Thanks to you, Kev Hassan, Timberlake Josh, Leo. Thanks to you also for being on the show. It's a pleasure being here this evening, and I'm very happy. Let me just let you know the internet being kind of fluctuating off and on. So I have the direct Facebook thing on standby. So just in case I go off, I will hurriedly switch to it so I don't miss the show. Just to let you know. I don't know. I think it's an internet problem. I think either my house or with the system. I don't know. Just to let you know.
So where are we? We have heard enough again and again, over and over, international rebuke, international outcry, nationally, the folks in bombing, Liberia as a whole. I can say this to you because one of your friend, your brother from bombing, former Senator Sandro Johnson, I was in conversation with him today. He sent me a message that they are complaining. The lawyers are ready. They're reviewing the MOU, the MDA. They're making the case. They're going to hold the government responsible, hold the legislative caucus of government responsible, and they're going to file the case on a junction to the Supreme Court whether the ship should leave the port or not. These guys are working. They are very serious. But through it all, you know more than I do. Do your intro and tell us exactly where are you now with the MOU, the NDA, and the rest of the story.
Thank you very much, Stanton and the panelists. Before I go into this, let me just state I listened to Timberlake George. I think the issue about my friend and brother, Mr. Fagon, is not that I don't want to share my ideas with him, but I thought that in the last few days when I listened to Mr. Fagon 2 days ago, talk about 2023 campaign manager, 2029 presidential bid. One day he's going to Representative Smith. One day he's going to Spoon FM or Spoon TV. One day he's on OK. One day he's calling the American. Tonight he's calling on the American ambassador. So I like to engage him, but I just didn't think that the distraction will help us to make the case. For example, one of the most critical persons in this arrangement has been former Senator Sandro Johnson. Senator Johnson and I had lunch today. We had a very good conversation. He had some tough questions. I answered his question over lunch. We had a good argument. He disagreed with some of the issues, but we talked about it. So I'm not running from anyone, any particular person, but I just thought that it was only fair to give time so that I make the case. So just to let you know that. Talking about
before sorry, I beg you. I won't let it slide. Before you go further, you just announced that you had lunch today with Sandro Johnson.
Yeah, we had lunch. We had a very good, very constructive lunch meeting today at Calabash, and it was very, very fruitful.
And you guys discussed Western Cluster.
That was the only thing we discussed today, Western Cluster.
Wow. Proceed, sir.
Yeah. We had a very good, very, very fruitful meeting, very good lunch. He asked some very tough questions. He has some very strong argument. We cleared some of the things, some of the concerns, and it was a very good meeting, very mature.
Did he tell you about the plans to engage the government? Did he tell you about? He did.
He did.
Did he tell you about reviewing both the MD and the MOU?
He did.
Okay. Did he tell you about the folks, the signature they are gathering?
He did.
Okay. So then we'll speak further on it. Thank you.
Yeah. So it was a very good. It was a very good meeting. Very, very mature. Very, very good meeting. Now, let me just go to a brief historicity of this whole Western Cluster thing, because it's important for me. I think this is the first time that I'm coming to sit actually on your show to talk about it, other than just calling in. I think the first time we talked about it was in this detail. So let me just hit on it a little bit. So we went as senators in Bowman County. We realized during the campaign that we had an iron ore mine. We had a company that had an MDA, and the mine had been sitting there since 2011, the son of MDA, and there was absolutely no economic activity in the county. Nothing was happening. Bombing, if any of you know bombing, things were very tough there. So we made a representation as a caucus. The caucus met, the caucus reached a decision and said, let's engage the executive branch of government that this company can either come back and operate or relinquish the mine because our people, times are difficult for our people. So we engaged the executive branch, and the executive branch informed us that, look, we are already in conversation with Western Cluster. The problem we have is that they are claiming that we cannot tax them on the period that they have notified us with force majeure and they have shut down. But that's the only deadlock we have. But we are already engaged in Western Cluster. There was ongoing conversation. So we got involved, follow up on those conversations. There was a time the Minister of Lands and Mines called, or I reminded him because Western Cluster had said because of COVID they could not travel. They had this policy and whatnot, and then we wanted this thing to move. So the Minister of Lands and Mines and I flew to India, and I will give you some of the missteps and contradictions along the way. We flew to India, contrary to this news that we spent 5 days in India, which is really not important. We spent about 12 hours in India. So we flew into India, had a meeting with Western Cluster, and then the minister extended an official invitation from the government of Liberia for them to come to Liberia. If they said they couldn't travel because of COVID and we could go there, they should bridge that protocol and fly to Liberia to continue and conclude the conversation. So Western Cluster, I think 2-3 weeks later, they flew to Liberia and they had a very extensive meeting with the executive branch of government. Very, very tense meeting. At the time, Minister Mangay was still Minister of State, the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Mines, NIC, Justice. They had very tough negotiations. And at the end of the day, they said, look, our concern is we want jobs for the people of Bonn. We want jobs for the people of the Western region. We want the people to have the social benefit that you owe the people. So all of those technicalities about force majeure and whatnot, we need the people to get some of the money. So they reached an understanding that Western Cluster would pay $10 million, $5 million upon signing the MOU. Just to let you know now, the MOU has elapsed. The MOU was for 6 months. It has elapsed. So right now, the NRC should advise Western Cluster, or the government should be know that they now should be operating on the MDA. So just to let you know that. But anyway, so they signed an MOU. And then because Western Cluster had their own apprehensions, government had her own apprehensions. Western Cluster were claiming that they spent millions of dollars, like Sam Jackson said the other night, and nothing has happened. So they had their own apprehension. In Liberia was conducive for investment. Also to note, it was spent under the previous administration. So they had concerns. So after they did the MOU and then they started carrying on the work, got the Class A license and doing everything, we immediately went to Bombing and had a town hall meeting, invited all of the stakeholders. As a matter of fact, before that town hall meeting, they did the environmental assessment, the environmental impact on this operation. Thanks to Professor Wilson Tapper, he was very instrumental. He got his staff from the EPA, and they went to Bombing and met with all the affected communities. They had a big meeting in Bombing, invited everyone, explained the environmental impact, everything to them. Thereafter that meeting was sponsored fully by the EPA. After that meeting, we now had a citizen engagement meeting. Every member of the Bombing County Legislative Caucus were in that meeting, including former members of the caucus. We explained to the citizens where we've come from, where we are, what's in the MOU, what's there for the county, everything. There was questions and answers, and we made progress. We told the citizens the downside to this MOU is that the ore will be trucked. Western Cluster is claiming they cannot build a rail and a port till in 3 years, so the ore will be trucked. The citizens said this is the same thing that was in the MDA that was signed under the former administration, so they didn't have a problem with it. The citizens requested that there should be some things put into place. They wanted the safety issues addressed. For example, you cannot haul the trucks in the day, so it should be done at night. Number 2, it should not be more than 30 tons. As a matter of fact, that was public work recommendation because of the wear and tear of the road and the bridges. It should not be more than 30 tons. So for the first time, a road permit was drawn up. So the Ministry of Public Works put together a road permit that Western Cluster will abide by in trucking the ore. And Western Cluster started operations. True to them, they paid the $5 million to the government of Liberia. The government was very clear, and I gave the government full credit for this publicly, full credit. The government said the amount of money that being paid by Western Cluster, every dime should be disbursed to the 3 counties in the Western region. Bombay County, the custodian of the mine will have $3.5 million. Grand Cape Mount will have $750,000. Bapulu will have $750,000. Full disbursement should be made to the 3 counties. Nothing going to central government, everything goes to the county. Fine, we move on, we move forward. We engage the citizens, inform the citizens were in the know, and Western Cluster started operations. There have been some challenges with Western Cluster. Western Cluster has not been a bread and butter situation. It has not been the perfect situation. Western Cluster, for example, had a road permit because it was rainy season. At times, they tried to truck their ore through the town. The civil society contacted me. I immediately complained Western Cluster to the Ministry of Lands and Mines. The Ministry of Lands and Mines took the appropriate action by suspending the road permit. The citizens engaged me about the Ghanaians being employed, doing jobs that Liberians were able to do. I immediately wrote the Bureau of Concession. The Bureau of Concession invited Western Cluster to a meeting. I met with the Minister of Labor. I informed him. He sent a team on the mine to inspect. So we've been up and down. There have been tussles with this whole Western Cluster issue. It's not been a perfect situation. At the end of the day, we wanted a situation that would take some economic empowerment back to the county. Now, I have had some downside of the arrangement. For example, Western Cluster directly have not been able to say, okay, you work for Western Cluster. They have outsourced most of their operations, and the people that work with those operations are working on those areas that have been outsourced. We said to Western Cluster, no, you have to employ our people. They must have the benefits and everything. Western Cluster said, look, we're operating on the MOU. 6 months later, once we know that we can do business here, we revert to the MDA and we execute the MDA fully. So that has been the case. The government has received the money. The Minister of Finance have acknowledged receipt of the money. The Ministry of Finance is now working with the Ministry of Internal Affairs to make sure that this money is disbursed to the county. And then we revert to the MDA. Like I just said to you, the MDA now should be in full force. They should be notified going to full force so that we all can come back to the drawing board. If it's logical to transport this ore by road, or we suspend the license or refuse to amend or renegotiate the amendment in the MDA until they can build a new port and build a new rail, that is the decision of the people of Bombay County. Now, we've been meeting. You know that a few days ago, about a week ago, the citizens had an engagement with the caucus. We all went there, we met, and I publicly told the caucus that, look, this has brought too much noise. It has brought, a situation that I don't want to be bothered with. So let the caucus appoint a new person to liaise with this Western Cluster thing and have back off. The only reason, or one of the reasons I'm on your radio, on your network tonight, 2 nights ago I was traveling, and while I was airborne, I was following your show, and my big brother and friend, who I have a lot of respect for, Sir Samuel Jackson, insinuated or directly said on your show that he was offered $10,000 from me, which he considered a bribe. I take that accusation very grave. I think it's a grave accusation, and I've come tonight to say that is not true. Mr. Sam Jackson is very knowledgeable about the history of Western Cluster. He has a lot of information. When Western Cluster started operation, some officials of government, some of them are now former, some of them are still current, they called and said, Senator Snow, can you make representation to Western Cluster? Sam Jackson has a lot of knowledge about this Western Cluster thing. We want him as a consultant. I called Mr. Jackson and said, I've received call from the 2 officials which I mentioned to Mr. Jackson. I said, they've asked for this, and this is what he said. Yes, he acknowledged that. Then he served a memo that he wanted to be sent to Western Cluster, which was sent to Western Cluster. Western Cluster came back and said, look, we have a Liberian firm that is already providing consultancy for us. I think Liberian Resources is headed by, I don't have the permission to call one of the partners' name, but it's ECB Jones, who's a geologist, very qualified Liberian. So we have these people, so we are already working with them. I went back to the official, one of whom is former now, one of them is still current, informed them that Western Cluster said they could not give the thing. So the official said to me, then the government will have to pay Mr. Jackson, but we need a consultant that will be able to know what is happening to help with the information. Brilliant idea. Mr. Jackson and I stay in communication. He followed up with me. And then when the government made a decision, it was a government decision championed by a former minister of state, the former minister of state, and the minister of finance, directive that this amount of $5 million from Western Cluster, 100% of that amount should go to the counties. Cape Town, Bomi, and Bapolu. Nothing should be expended from this money. So I informed Mr. Jackson, the government had made a decision for disbursement of this amount. All of the money is going to the county. Nothing will go to anybody. This was it. Mr. Jackson and I have kept in touch. We have a very good relationship as far as I'm concerned to recent. I respect him a lot, and I know he's very knowledgeable about this whole Western Cluster thing. So I was troubled, and I'm still bothered that Mr. Jackson would consider that conversation of people that are still alive and listening to this show tonight that approached me for him to provide consultancy to consider that as a bribe. That's my main reason of coming tonight. I would like to talk about that. Notwithstanding whatever question, whatever clarification you need regarding Western Cluster, I'm open to provide these clarifications. Thank
you very much, Senator Snow. Let's finish up with this Mr. Jackson issue. Then we'll go to the main stuff. Mr. Jackson conversation came about not from you, but from a government official that he should be serving as consultant. Then later on, as you're saying right now, did you directly have any conversation with Mr. Jackson that you will pay him 10,000 United States dollars, or you would give him as a hush money 10,000 United States dollars?
No, sir. And I really, that's why I really wanted Mr. Jackson on this radio, on this show tonight, so that we could discuss it. Because, and I will say it, I have the permission from that official, and I will say to you, the then Minister of State, who also from that region, he placed a call to me and said, look, besides being Minister of State, I'm also from this region. Mr. Jackson has a lot of knowledge on this Western Cluster arrangement. Please make representation for Western Cluster. Let them have Mr. Jackson as a consultant. That was a direct call. I called Western Cluster and I called Mr. Jackson and informed him that the Minister of State had made his representation and Mr. Jackson acknowledged it. There was nothing like bribe.
Did Mr. Jackson do any work? Did he do anything whatsoever through this process? Whether did he serve as consultant? He wrote a paper on behalf of Western Cluster. He represented the government. What was your direct communication with Mr. Jackson as to why you think he think that you were offering him $10,000?
Well, again, like I said, unfortunately, those persons responsible or made those connections are still alive. The former Minister of State was the one who called and made representation for Mr. Jackson to serve as consultant. I contacted Mr. Jackson. He acknowledged that he and the Minister of State have had that conversation. Mr. Jackson prepared a paper to the company through me, through my office, which I sent to the company, and approaching them. The company said to me, we already have a Liberian firm that is serving as consultant. So I went back to the minister and to another official who was involved and said, the company said they already have a consultant, so they could not do it. The minister, because he had interest from that region, also said, if that's the case, then the government should be able to underwrite this, but we need Mr. Jackson because he's very knowledgeable to provide consultancy. When the two ministers got the marching order that every dime that was paid by Western Cluster to the government must go to the 3 counties. Nothing should be touched. That meant that the government could not pay from the Western Cluster proceeds. They had to get different money. So that deal did not go through. But at no time, to answer your direct question, to close on the direct question, at no time did I offer Mr. Jackson hush money. There at no time did I attempt to bribe Mr. Jackson. I have a lot of respect for Mr. Jackson, and under no condition will I attempt to bribe Mr. Jackson for what I know.
Did you make promise to Mr. Jackson? What a hush money? And did you promise him something? Did you promise him a gift? Did you promise me? Were there any promise made that Mr. Jackson, I'm traveling, I'm out of the country, I will be back, I will take care of you? You know, his graduation came up, he was sending requests to everyone. You know, I'm graduating, send my gift. Did you promise him, say, I will give you gift? What are the graduation, what a birthday party, what a wedding anniversary? you guys ever discussed something about gave him money between you and Mr. Jackson?
Like I have with many others, I have a very good relationship until recent. Maybe I blocked Mr. Jackson until he started posting, but we have a very good relationship. And when Mr. Jackson was graduating, yes, I'm aware of his graduation. We made contact. I did not give Mr. Jackson money. He informed me about his graduation. I will not disclose our conversation, but it was not in relation to Western Cluster on his graduation. And those conversations that had to do with Western Cluster, I've mentioned it. I did not offer Mr. Jackson bribe. I did not offer him hush money. I was approached by the then Minister of State to have Mr. Jackson serve as consultant. I informed the company. The company said to me, we already have a consultant. And I informed the Minister of State. And for me, that was it. I did not promise Mr. Jackson money. Whatever was personal between Mr. Jackson and I remain personal. And I respect the confidentiality between he and I, the privacy, and I will maintain
But that's
that.
the issue, though. And before the other guys come on, that's the issue because something personal, some kind of personal conversation took place between you and Mr. Jackson. And now Mr. Jackson saying that personal conversation is that you, Honorable Snow, you are offering him $10,000 as a hush money. So my question to you, for birthday, anniversary, graduation, did you promise him anything?
No,
Any
sir.
money, any gift?
No, sir. I didn't promise Mr. Jackson money. I didn't make any commitment to Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, unfortunately, almost all of the conversation Mr. Jackson and I had was via text messages. So in Mr. Jackson's phone, he will have those messages. In my phone, I will have those messages, which I don't intend to disclose to the public. But Mr. Jackson will tell you that those messages had nothing to do with hush money. The only time we had an actual discussion, because there was one time Mr. Jackson called me, I was in Malawi. I was in a meeting, so I said I'm in Malawi. There's another time he called me, I think I was in Senegal. I said I'm in Senegal. And then finally, I told him that the government has given direction that this money should be disbursed. Minister Mangeo and Minister Tue have direct directive that the money should be disbursed directly to the counties. The 3 counties should have this money. 100% of the 5 million should go only to the 3 counties. I informed him verbally. Besides that verbal conversation, almost every other transaction was done through text messages. And I've read my text messages today. I've refreshed my mind, and I know there was nothing of such. Mr. Jackson and I have never gone down
Did
that
you say that
road.
Mr. Jackson, once the county received the money, will give you something? Did you say that
Once
to
what?
him?
Once
Once the
what?
county received this $5 million, 3.5, we will take care of you. Did you say that to him?
It's the county money. I can't make decision on that. I didn't say that to Mr. Jackson. I informed Mr. Jackson that the government had reached a decision that all the money should go to the county, and that was it. There was all of mutual respect, and that was it.
Thank you, Honorable Snow. Let me bring in Kev Hassan, St. Thomas and George, Leo, and we'll be bringing in Roland Perry. He's been on this story with Western Cluster too. He will help us with the discussion. Kev, can you go ahead, please?
Yeah, I want to go further into the actual discussion because for me, I don't think the allegation made to Mr. Snow was valid on that, hush money issue, and according to things I know personally. So I don't want to dignify that. I want to ask him, I want to talk on behalf of the people of Bumi and how the people of Bumi can benefit of the Western Cluster deal versus if some people want the personal interest. I don't want to deal with that in the sense. You talk about Senator Snow, you talk about the MOU, you talk about the MDA. Okay, let me ask you a quick question. The MOU was for 6 months, right?
Yeah.
For 6 months.
Yes.
It was signed in April last year. So we're talking about
April 12.
April 12th. We're talking about 9 months.
Yeah.
So at this moment, there's no such thing called the MOU, which is
no. As far as
that we at this moment, if the MDA is in effect, can you explain that?
As far as I'm concerned, the MOU is stated clearly that within 6 months, the company will go back to the drawing board and negotiate the amendment of the MDA. 6 months has elapsed. And I think the government of Liberia needs to engage Western Cluster to revert to the MDA and make sure that if they intend to continue the operation, they should fully implement the MDA.
They should fully. So right now the company is operating on the MDA.
As far as I'm concerned, from the lifespan of the MOU, because the MOU said within 6 months they should begin the process of discussing the amendments. So as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing like an MOU right now with Western Cluster and the government. Government have done its part. Western Cluster have done its part. They're in operation, and they now should revert to the MDA. Even the MDA, which I think is a good document, they should revert to the MDA to continue the operations.
Okay, you talk about and within 3 years, the need to build the railway, but for now they have to use the road. You can find that it's within the MDA also.
Definitely, it's within the MDA. Let me just show you where exactly it is in the MDA. I don't know if I'll send you a copy of the MDA, but it's clearly stated in the MDA that they will be able to, or within 3 years, they will do the rail. So that is clearly stated in the MDA, and I will give it to you as we proceed with this conversation.
So there's what about building the road? So they should build the road while the trucking the minerals, right? And
Yes,
some of the construction are going on as we speak.
As I speak to you, now when you say building the road, let's make this clear. They're not building a new road. They're not building a new road. What they are doing is that, and I think the term when they said they would do potholes is not even potholes they are doing. And anyone driving on that road will tell you what they are doing. They are taking the deep out of the spot, the bar spot. They are clearing the entire spot and redoing the resurface on that road. So it's not 100% a new road, but they're doing, and anyone driving there. Matter of fact, I had people that went out to Cape Mount recently and said to me, "Thank you for, this road is far better than what we had before." So it's not the best. Is that the best we can do? No. Should we do better? Yes. But they are doing the road and it's in a better condition today. They have to accelerate it. And Western Cluster went into an arrangement with a private company. That company is doing the road, and we expect them to accelerate the process.
So thank you. You got one more?
Just follow up. What is the issue? Because I'm kind of confused in that from the argument from the other side, attacking the road while they're using the road. But you say is within the MDA.
So the MDA section 6.7B. 6.7B of the MDA talk about transporting the road for the initial period of 3 years. Transporting the ore on the road for the initial period of 3 years. 6.7B of the MDA.
Thank you, Kev. Let's move on. We'll come back to you, Kev. We got our St. Martin, George, Leo, and I want to bring in Roland. St. Martin, you go first. Let me keep Leo for last.
Good to see you, Senator Small. It's good having the discussion. Okay, the MOU. Okay, the MOU. Why? My question is why? As I know, you negotiated, you went to bring the community back in good faith for the people of Burma to get jobs and benefit for the other counties. That was a good thing. But MOU to reactivate the lost and cluster activities. Why didn't you guys stick to the MOU instead of bringing the MDA? Because the MDA failed to meet up with the requirements that they had planned. That was in the MOU, that providing a safe environment and also before receiving the Class A production license. But instead, you guys went ahead to bypass the MOU. That's no door.
You said they bypass the MDA.
They bypassed the MOU and came up and went on to the
MDA. The MDA
is the right one. The MOU.
Bypass the MDA. Yes, went to the MOU. So the question is why, especially so within the MDA, the Western cluster failed to meet up with certain requirements, certain expectations. But instead of you guys forcing them to comply with it, you guys went ahead to some MOU to that undermine the MDA. I mean, why?
Certainly, it's easy to assume that someone breached something, and as an official of government, maybe I should not be the one saying this. Western cluster should be for themselves. But I can tell you that there were breaches of this agreement from all sides, both from the government and the company. So there was no perfect situation. And because there was a gap from 2014 to 2022, the government felt Western cluster cannot come tomorrow morning. It's like you ultimately, maybe you're a married man and you went to a party. You went to a party and you slept out of the house, and you come in the morning, you open the door, and you just expect your wife to say, because this is your home and you're a married man, this is so it's business as usual. No, you have to give some explanation, or there should be something to amends. So this MOU is a gap to fill in that gap, that vacuum. This MOU in no way was intended to cheat the company or to cheat the people of Liberia. So this MOU was only intended to get them to start. And that's why when people say, and I fully agree, when we all say the MOU cannot supersede the MDA, I fully agree with you. Now that the MDA is in full swing, if the government of Liberia, the citizens of Bombay, make the representation that we don't agree with this MOU that was signed, Western cluster owe this money, they must pay this money to continue operation, they will have to pay this money. So it was not, this MOU it's not a normal situation to say, well, everything was normal and we just came about, or the government just went, look, Timberlake, I can say to you without of inch, one of the best lawyers in this country is the current Minister of Justice. I don't think he will affix his signature to a document that will defraud the Liberian government. Minister Tue is not, and now we are not buddies. I mean, it's an open thing. We're not enemies, don't get me wrong, but we're not buddies like we call each other, check on each other. But I don't think he will affix his signature on the agreement that would, let's say I listened to someone today that say the money is used for campaigning and this person is there and that person, all the different accusations I have listened to. There's no deliberate attempt here to rob the people of Bomi or to rob the government of Liberia. Now, is the MOU was a perfect situation? Maybe not. Maybe not. So some of the arguments that people are making with the MOU, at hindsight, it makes sense. But was it intended to rob this country? No, it wasn't intended to rob this country. The same way was the conversation with Mr. Jackson. Was it intended to bribe him or to get him to shut up? No. It was a way of getting qualified. Look, say what you want to say about Mr. Jackson. Someone sent me a message and say, you're praising him too much. It's not good. But that's not about praising him. The fact is he's qualified. He's knowledgeable about this. And that's why when he offered his service, the government thought it was a good idea to bring him on board. So the MOU may not have been the perfect situation, but it was a way to begin a process that has already commenced. And I'm at the stage now where we should say as a government people, how can we fix it? And that's where we are.
Okay, last question. In fact, by the way, he sent a message you unblock him, so he should call you.
I'll think about it after the show tonight. He said he's listening. I'll think about it after the show.
Okay, but okay.
And I'm 70 years old. I'm 52 years old. Why going to be apply 170-year-old man for?
Okay, back to the discussion. Okay, your critics. I've been listening to all sides, right? But some of your critics, what they have been saying, right? They said that the MOU is illegal, and Western Cluster has a Class A lesson that is sucking up the iron ore without meeting the requirements in the MDA. So they believe that they said that you say you did it in good faith, but instead they believe that the reason why this thing came about was because of benefits to you and others who push for this, because they still have not met up with the requirements as stated in the MDA. And so knowing for the fact that they are not met up with it, you guys should have been advocating and said, look, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go back and meet up with what you guys said you're going to do. But I believe that you guys are benefiting from it. That's why you guys have undermined the MDA. I mean, what can you say to that about that?
Tunneling, it's easy to sit anywhere and assume that let's do this in Bomi County. I live there. I'm a stakeholder in the county. I'm the senator of that county, one of the senators of that county. I know what we are going through in that county. And to be able to encourage people to take economic activities, and thanks to this government, that without asking or saying this should come to the government cover, this go there, the government say all should go to the county, it's easy to sit anywhere and criticize. Like I said to you, Timothy, this may not have been the best MOU. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best document ever produced. No, it may have had some problems. But the issue in Liberia, that everything we do, it has to have financial implication. On this one, Timothy, I put up my hands. As far as I'm concerned, I did not receive a dime from Western Cluster, and I can vouch for every official of this government that they did not receive a dime from Western Cluster on this arrangement. The government focus was how can we get jobs to the Western region. The Minister of Lands and Mine had a meeting in Cote d'Ivoire on the CLSG meeting. He canceled that meeting to say this is about bombing, it's about our people in the region. So it's easier for people from people have called me and say, I got $3 million. Some people say $5 million. Some people say, I mean, the different figures I'm hearing. I wish I had 10% of it. But the truth is, nobody got bribed. Nobody. And tell me, I'm a senator of Bombay County. I know what my people are going. Look, we had and I'm happy Mr. Roland Perry is on the show. We and I disagree most of the time, but I'm happy he's on the show. Someone I know very well. We had a company in the Sam Darby area called Sam Darby, or oil palm company. He accused me of being one of those that closed the company down. So we had this company called Sam Darby. We got behind Sam Darby. Every day was a news story. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do that. Oh, you got to do the other. Guess what? Sam Darby folded up and they left. They turned the farm over to a local company here. Chief, the company today cannot operate 10% of that farm. When you go to Bar today, and Mr. Perry will tell you his father lived there, I know him very well. He will tell you today in Bar, we wish Sam Darby was still here. We were crying Sam Darby down every day. We didn't want this company because they were doing this. They were not doing the other. They were not doing this. And they left. They folded their arms. They said, well, there's not a conducive environment for investment. We are leaving. Go to Bar today and ask the people, do you want Sam Darby to come back here? So what I did in this arrangement, ultimately, I did it with a clear heart. I have critics. I'm a politician. Somebody come the other day and say, oh, you won't be campaign manager. I've said it continuously. The president, I have never had a conversation on being his campaign manager. And I'm not enthusiastic about being the campaign manager of the president. Do I support him? Yes. Somebody say, oh, you're looking for money for you to run in 2029. It was on your show the other night. My friend Eugene said the same thing, that it will make sure my political future is poor, that I will not be campaign manager, I will not run 2029. These are not the issues. The issue here, Mr. George, is that I'm senator of Bombay County. And tonight, that's why I made sure Radio Bombay and my own Puma FM, they are carrying this show live. So the people of the county will listen to what we are seeing here tonight. It was about how can we put bread on our people's table. Has Western Cluster given the best solution? No. There are issues here that we are not satisfied with. I listened to Mr. Brown, Shepherd Brown, other day on the air. He said Western Cluster has not employ people directly. That's an issue we have. I wrote the NBC, the National Bureau of Concession. I complained Western Cluster. When Western Cluster violated the road permit, I wrote the Minister of Public Works. The Minister of Public Works banned Western Cluster for 1 month. So what is this pro bono, or exchange of money that everybody accusing me of? Some people even be brave to say to me, my man, if you don't get all the share, our share of 3 million will continue attacking you. Can you imagine that?
Let's bring in Leo, Senator. There's a lot to discuss tonight. Thank you very much. Leo?
Yeah, thank you. And it's good to see you, Senator Snow, as well. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Leo.
I have a few things running in my mind here, but just to begin would be, first of all, I find it to be a bit confusing for me when, on one hand, you say that Minister Frank Musa Dean, who everyone knows, a very astute lawyer in Liberia, would not have affixed a signature to this document if it was not stellar, if it was not a great document, or Minister Samuel Tue. And then on the other hand, in hindsight, You tell us that this is not the best. This may not be the perfect MOU or the best. I'm trying to figure out the standards, because if Minister Frank Musadin, who's an astute, very experienced lawyer, we all know that, can affix his document, his signature, I would expect that this document will be a stellar document, number one. But what's confusing me is that, and, as Senator of Bombing County, this is in your interest as well. Clearly, these are your people, and if there's something going on in Bombing that is not going the way it's supposed to go, or that is problematic, clearly you will have an interest. Where I'm confused is, as a ranking member of the Senate of the Republic of Liberia, how come you were willing to compromise yourself in a way that you were recommending consultants to Western Cluster? You were acting on brokering the deal. You were doing, because as a senator, my understanding would be you have oversight. So if you bring this issue up and recommend solutions, the relevant people in government that should be doing it, to allow yourself that opportunity to be able to scrutinize and oversee and provide oversight. You can be in the dealings and willings and at the same time be providing oversight as a senator. Don't you think, for my first question, that bringing yourself within the mix of the willing and dealing, as much as recommending consultants to Western Cluster, I'm pretty sure Western Cluster has a vast amount of resources to look for some of the best consultants. Don't you think, because they say the appearance of conflict of interest is indeed a conflict of interest, don't you think that puts you in a situation already, because all of this wasn't going through the Senate, it was going outside of the Senate? Don't you think you already put yourself in a situation that made it impossible and gave grounds for which someone should think, if not financially, politically, that you're positioning yourself to benefit in a way as a result of you in multiple instances being involved with the willing and dealings that you should have been waiting to scrutinize, provide oversight, and make sure the people of Bomi were not cheated of their resources?
Thank you very much. Leo, even if you did a dissertation today for your PhD and you graduated with high honors, and they took that PhD and sent it to another university, another professor could critique that PhD, that dissertation, and find fault with it. Mr. Jackson, welcome to the show. Another professor could see that PhD or that dissertation and critique the dissertation. So when I say to you, it may, let's look at the operative work here. It may have not been the best document, because everybody else have put this MOU down and everybody can take line by line and critique it. It may have not been. But my thing is, did anyone willingly sign an MOU for financial benefit or to deprive the Liberian people from the just benefit? The answer would be no. So there's no confusion here. If you were to do even the Holy Bible or the Holy Quran, if you took it now and carry it to one church or to one mosque, somebody will interpret maybe just one sentence different from the other person. It doesn't mean that it's not a good document. It's a holy book. It's the best document. So that's where I'm coming from. Regarding Mr. Jackson, and I'm happy Mr. Jackson is on the show, Mr. Jackson issue, when I was approached by the minister, the then minister, it was not to go and negotiate an agreement for Mr. Jackson. Mr. Snow, this your county. You are representing the caucus. We will let someone who is knowledgeable, who knows the issue, to represent the interests of, to serve as a consultant so that we know what is happening. My duty was a conduit, take this document to them. They said to me, we already have a consultant. They called the name of the consultant. I informed me, case closed. I did not go to negotiate. So I never said I went to negotiate a contract for Mr. Jackson. No, I was asked whether Mr. Jackson had contacted those individuals, whether they have contacted Mr. Jackson, I don't know, but a call was placed to me. And fortunately, I'm naming who placed the call to me. So it's not someone that is dead. He was the minister of state at the time. He made his call in good faith, and I was only the one to relay this message. That's what I did.
Yes, just a quick follow-up, Stanton, for my second question here. My thought is Mr. Jackson is just one example, but even going to India, being involved with those negotiations, putting together an MOU. When I think of and you can correct me if I'm wrong or educate me on this. When I think of the role of a senator, whose job is to provide oversight, lawmaking, accountability issues, I would have thought that the government allowing the senator, one of the senators of Bomi, to be involved in those processes made it impossible. Don't you think that made it impossible for you as senator to have been able to take that MOU and properly scrutinize it. Now you're one of the authors or one of the originators of that document. How can you play a role as a senator in being able to be the eye of transparency, oversight, scrutiny in a very objective manner when, in fact, you now are put in a position that you have to defend that because you were part of the creation and originating of that very document instead of being the one that will scrutinize it and take it apart to say this is either good for my people in Bomi or this is bad?
Well, Leo, I think we started the show, so I don't know if you were texting, you didn't listen, but just to bring you back on track, I said to you, the trip to India was to commence an engagement. The MOU was negotiated and signed in Liberia. As a matter of fact, there's one version that says it was signed in Ganta, it was signed in Monrovia. So the MOU was not signed in India. No, it was to commence an engagement. Hey, Western Cluster, I represent the caucus of Bombing County. You have our mind. Our people need job. We need economic empowerment, and you are not doing anything but this mind. You can relinquish this mind, or you operate this mind and let our people benefit from it. We are asking you to come to Liberia and commence negotiation with the government of Liberia for the operationalization of the mine. Case closed. I can say to you, I can send you a copy of my passport. I entered India the same day was the same day I left India. I got on a Sunday morning. I left there on a Sunday evening. 12 hours in India, we were out of there. Western Cluster, when they found it fit to come to Liberia, they flew to Liberia. They flew to Liberia and negotiated with the government of Liberia. No representative, no senator, including me, was not in that conversation with the government. And they discussed with the government, they reached a conclusion on the government, and they signed. In this government, I can say to you, that the government did what was right. The government acted in the interest of the people of Bombing County and the Western region to be able to get some economic activities back into our region. You know, it's easier, Leo, what you're seeing is a theoretical part of it. But the practical part of it is that when you are a senator or representative in a county or in a district, and there's no economic empowerment for your people, and there's no job creation for your people, that pressure comes on you. That pressure comes on you. So if you have an opportunity where you can attract investment, where you can be a part of a situation, not to go and negotiate or to sign document. That's why we look on the MOU with all the politics that everybody playing with this MOU. Nobody has come to you one day and say, oh, Mr. Snow signed a bad MOU. With all the politics. And not because I didn't sign it, I will come here tonight and say it's a bad document. No, it was a good document. It was a good document. Nobody can say, oh, he signed it. But everybody from Monday to Friday is snow. And, you know, if that's the politics of it, I'm a politician. I've been in politics for more than half of my life. I'm used to it, and I can take the heat.
I'll ask my last question quickly. And thank you, Senator Snow. But again, my thing was not about you engaging or not engaging. I'm just wondering where's the role of the senators to be putting pressure on our various arms and instruments of government that we pay to do our job, to be doing a job that a senator has to be flying to India to try.
Look, gentlemen, I just want to say something quickly because my last question.
My last question is under the MOU, where was the framework of
Mr. Jackson is saying something.
Oh. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson.
No, I can't wait. My LEC is
Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, when you first say LEC, you come back. When you first say LEC, you come back.
Let me just do it quick.
Mr. Jackson, when you first say LEC, come back.
So, so my last question, I was saying, under the MOU that was signed for 6 months, that was negotiated with the Liberian government and Western Cluster, and where was the framework of accountability for Western Cluster? And what I mean by that, saying Western Cluster, if this MOU is defaulted or you fail to implement all of the terms as enshrined in this MOU, what was the consequences and the framework of accountability by which the people of Bombing, Liberia, and the government would have held Western Cluster fully accountable? In your opinion, did Western Cluster go by the terms of the MOU as was enshrined?
So, Leo, we have a document here that is bigger than the MOU. It's called the MDA, the Mineral Development Agreement. It's bigger than the MOU. Western Cluster has more stake, and the government has more stake in the MDA than the MOU. The MOU was an understanding that, hey, we've reached a deadlock for many years of negotiation and many years of spending money. Government were to do A, B, C, D. We were to do A, B, C, D. There were areas where government did not perform. There were areas where Western Cluster did not perform. The option was, let's go through a legal process. Let's go to arbitration. It's not as simple as it looked today. Let's go to arbitration. Our thing was, and that's why when you say oversight, I can stand in the Liberian Senate today, I can stay on the floor of the Senate today and say to the government, just what you see, that this MOU may not have been the best document. Guess what? I believe it was the best document. For you, it may not be the best document, so I respect you, but I did not sign this MOU. It doesn't mean it's not right. Don't get me wrong. So there was no conflict of interest here. Even you ask people now in the Senate, in the legislature, Mita Steele has invited legislators to London and to India. Goli Valerian has invited legislators to Malaysia. Western Cluster, now what they call it, but the same Derby invited legislators to Malaysia. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no conflict of interest there. What is important is that how in the spirit of your representation can you adequately represent your people to provide jobs for them, to provide economic empowerment for your people. That's where the issue is.
Thank you very much, Roland. Let me skip you for a minute because the invitation was sent also to Mr. Jackson. And I understand we cannot control the LDC situation, but Mr. Jackson, please make good of your time because we have to have a sober program tonight. You are muted. Can you unmute, please?
Thank you, Senator Storm Ambassador, brother, for your kind words. But we're going to be talking as nationalists and patriots for now, okay? And let me just be very clear to you. I have to ask you a couple of questions. Who is the head of government relations for Western Cluster today on the current operation?
Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, I'm asking you a question, sir. Do you know or you don't know?
Mr. Jackson, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Jackson, did I offer you bribe?
Sir, I will come to that. I'm asking you a question.
Mr. Jackson,
when you offer me, I consider, listen to me. You want to divert. I came here for a specific reason, and I'm asking you a question. As a panelist, who is the head of government relations at the Western Cluster today? Now, who is the head of government relations?
Mr. Jackson, did I offer you a bribe?
I will tell the audience. You want to answer that question? Number one, a second question for you is ECB Jones. What role did he play on the Interministerial Technical Committee that granted the Western Cluster to El Anito in 2009? What was his role? The man you mentioned, who is the consultant now for the Western Cluster, what was his role on the Interministerial Technical Committee that gave the bogus concession to El Anito? What was his role?
Are you done, sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you done? Good. So your first question, and I'll come back to the question I asked you, which is very important for me, and that's the main issue I'm here tonight for.
Okay.
Western Cluster, you said who is the government relations person for Western Cluster? When Western Cluster started operations, there were two recommendations made.
I'm talking about now. Edwin, answer the question. It's an individual. Yeah.
Can you just at least give him a chance to let he answer?
Can I go ahead,
Mr. Jackson? Go ahead, Ms. Santos Snow. Go ahead, please.
There were two recommendations made to Western Cluster. The first recommendation, Western Cluster, there's a mayor in this county called Mr. Samuel Brown. Mr. Brown was a superintendent of Bomi County when your agreement was signed in 2011 in Bomi County. We request that you have him there so that he can understand the issue and represent the interests of the county in general. Number two, there's a man called James Tapper. The question you asked, a man called James Tapper. James Tapper was the commissioner of Senja District Senja District is a custodian of the mine. It's called Senja District. He was a commissioner of Senja District. Mr. James Tapper is also from an affected community. He's from a town called Bola. Bola is on the mine, directly on the mine. Mr. Tapper will be a good person to join your employ because he and Mr. Brown both work as commissioner and superintendent of Bombing County when you had your operation signed in 2011. So if you want to know who Mr. Tapper is to me, which I know you are coming from, Mr. Tapper is
that's not it.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
That's not it. Okay.
So to come to the second question.
No, but okay, let me ask another question quick. What role is Ansel Cornet playing any role in the Western Cluster right now? Ansel Cornet?
Who is Ansel Cornet? I don't know who is that.
Okay, great. Okay, then. So let me go back now and answer your question. Did I, out of my own will, ever call you, Nat McGill, 12, anybody connected to the Western Cluster, and submit my curriculum vitae and say I want to work for Western Cluster? A yes or no answer?
Mr. Jackson, again, let me say this to you. I'm
yes
very
or
happy.
No? Did I request a position with Western? It's a yes or no question, Edwin.
No.
It's a yes or no.
Mr. Jackson, allow us to ask question and allow him to answer.
I'm asking a question.
I agree. You just did, Mr. Jackson. But Mr. Samuel Jackson gave him the chance to answer your question, please.
Okay. Let him answer the question.
Thank you. Senator Snow, please.
All right. So your first question, you asked about ECB Jones. I don't know which role he played at the time. I don't know about that. Okay. I was not part of the bombing caucus. I may have been a part of the legislature. I was not part of the bombing caucus. Regarding, like I said to you, Mr. McGill is alive. Whether you call him, whether he call you, I don't know. But he called me in his capacity as Minister of State and said to me, Mr. Jackson is knowledgeable. I think he'll be a good consultant. Make sure or talk to your people or talk to to a Western Cluster and let them get Mr. Jackson as a consultant.
Fantastic. So let it be clear now that you initiated that to ask me to be a consultant in the Western Cluster. And there's a tip. Let me finish. There's a tip of you on Spoon, and you said, and Stanton and Tomalin can verify that. They said Sam Jackson is working with us to make this right. Do you remember seeing that on Spoon TV ever? Did you ever make that acknowledgement that I was working with you guys? Did you ever say that?
I sure when I said that to you, it was based on the memo you
Not me. You said it to the audience. So listen, I'm going to leave. And
no.
Let me finish.
You asked a question.
Yes, okay, but let me finish.
Mr. Jackson, you can ask a question, and he want to ask you a question too, Mr. Jackson.
Okay, well, go ahead and ask me a question. Go ahead.
He got to ask you a question. Senator Snow, go ahead, please.
So you said that I said that to you on the show, and I'm looking for the recording of my time on that show.
Not to me. You said it to the audience. You said we are starting the trucking of ore, okay, and the Western Cluster is coming back, and Sam Jackson, it will be working along with us. Did you say that or no? Because there's a recording of that. I want you to be aware.
Mr. Jackson.
Do you remember seeing that?
Are you done?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Jackson, there are a lot of other recordings and a lot of other text messages. All right? But let's go to the issue. Okay, so let's go to the issue.
Exactly. But there wasn't a public show now. Okay, because
Mr. Jackson, I know you got to run, but be patient, please. Let's give Senator Snow the chance to speak. He has some questions for you. Then, because you have a problem with your LDC, I beg you, just give us a few minutes. Senator Snow, please.
Thank you. So, Mr. Jackson, you send a memo. You address a memo to this company. You copy me or via my office to this company. So when I was in possession of your memo, reading your memo and mention that you are working with this company or working in the interest of the people, I don't think I was in error. There was already a representation made, and you are aware of that representation.
Thank you very much.
You are
Thank you
aware
very
of
much. Thank
Sir,
you.
Calm down. Let me finish. You are
Oh,
aware
I'm
of
calm down, Edwin. I'm calm down, but I want to keep it short and sweet because for the following reason.
No,
When
Mr. Jackson, you
when
cannot
I
give the
was
following
called,
reason. Mr. Jackson, please don't give the following reason. Allow Senator Snow to ask you his question. He's coming to his question, please.
okay.
Thank you. Senator Snow, can you go to your question, please?
I only got one question from Mr. Jackson tonight. Mr. Jackson said on your show the other night, and he said on OKFM yesterday, I offer him a bribe of $10,000 not to talk about Western Cluster. Mr. Jackson, did I offer you a bribe?
When you offer me a consultancy and you know that I've been vehemently opposed to the trucking of iron ore to work as a consultant for the Western Cluster, I have an IQ of 140. I'm not a stupid man. This was meant as hush money. That's how I took it. Plain and simple. That's how I took it. If I'm opposed to something, and I fought this company for several years, and it's going to like 12 years of fighting, and you come to me and say, we're going to offer you $10,000 for consultancy to work along with this company, I'm not stupid. So what I did, I put you on record. That memo I sent to you was to list out the conditions, the terms and conditions, the environmental and social consequences of trucking ore. And you know the reason why you never got back to me? Because you have somebody like ECB Jones, who was on the Interministerial Technical Committee that granted that bogus deal, and they are working for the Western Cluster, including some others who were part of the original fraud and decadence that occurred in 2011. That's how I took it. Because you can't speak to an intelligent man like me, and I have opposed this thing on the record, and you come to me and say, we're going to offer you a consultancy. There's no other way for me to consider that than to be hush money. Maybe you have good intentions, but that is how I internalized it. That's how I internalized it. Okay.
Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Are you done? All right. So,
yes.
Like I said to you, I never approached you. A call was placed, and fortunately, I got the consent of the former minister that I can mention his name because he placed that call to me. And whether it was a conversation between you and him or not, that's not my business. But I did not offer you hush money because there's nothing there to offer hush money about. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, Mr. Jackson, if Stanton Waterspoon was to take out your memo now and read your memo to the public, there's nothing in your memo that condemn the operation of the company. In your memo, you say you are willing to help. You have your memo. If you read your memo,
yes.
Read your memo. There's nothing
exactly.
in that memo.
Okay. But then
can I go ahead?
If we read a memo,
Can we come back to the real discussion, Mr. Jackson?
No,
we want to say,
let's come to
Mr. Jackson.
The memo was clear. The memo said, on face
Mr. Jackson,
value,
I won't bring this about the people of bumming. Let's talk about the people of bumming.
But because
let me leave your consultancy and memo alone. Mr. Jackson, I do not want to individualize this on Mr. Jackson.
But it's not.
There's
but it's
more
already
to discuss this issue about the people of bumming than to worry about you and your consultancy.
I'm not worried about me. I'm not worried about me.
Let's move on.
I am trying to say to the Liberian people, which I have a right to say to the Liberian people, that my memo asks some very questions, some serious questions about free, prior, and informed consent for the people in the project affected area. Number two, we talk about environmental and social consequences of trucking iron ore. Number three, we talk about the strength and the engineering construct of the road to withstand 78 trucks coming. And also the last thing was to ask about what's the contribution to jobs creation, to linkages. You could not answer those questions. Western Cluster could not, they didn't want to answer those questions because they had an agenda. That's why they decided to not hire my services. Fine, I was okay with that. But on December 30th, you said, and I sent Stanton the text message, that I was giving Stanton, when there was public outcry against this Western Cluster, that I was giving Stanton questions. So let Stanton answer the question tonight. Stanton, Did I provide any questions for you to ask Minister Snow? You have his text message. Did I give you questions on the show of December 30th to ask Edwin Melvin Snow? Yes or no?
Mr. Jackson, you have never ever given me any question.
Thank you very much. I end my conversation. Have a good day. Speak to the people of Bombay.
No. Come back. No. Don't run away.
No, but wait. I mean, I'm done. I mean, speak to the people of Bombay.
No, it don't work that way, sir. It doesn't work that way.
When I saw you will stop me. I'm not in jail. They say, don't hang up on me.
No. It doesn't work that way, Stanton. I don't think you should encourage that. It doesn't work that way. Mr. Jackson, your memo you talk about.
Did you threaten to tell the president? Did you threaten to tell the president that I was giving Stanton questions? It's in your text message. Did you threaten to tell the president? You say you told the president, and I told you that you can tell God. Remember that text? I sent that text to Stanton. Stanton has it. Tomlin has it. Stephen Snow, I feel sorry for you. You mean well. You are on the front burner in this issue here. You're on the front burner.
When you feel like relief? When you feel relief, or you stay on the show?
Invite me to Bombay. Let's talk to the people of the Western Cluster area. Let's try to mitigate the savage disadvantages that this deal is giving to them. I would do it as a big brother, as a social economist. I would do that for you. But for you to come on national television to impugn my motives and my reputation that I have harnessed for 48 years as a progressive and as a nationalist, I will not take that. But I consider you, Senator Snow, an honorable man. And if you have any issues with me, let's solve it in Bombay over some water, because my son in London, his mother is from Gangama. So I have ties to Bombay. I want to thank you very much. And I don't want to overshadow and dominate the show, but explain to your people what you're trying to achieve. Let God bless you, and God bless Liberia.
So you're off now?
Well, I'm finished. I'm gone. Can I leave now?
Let's stay on the show.
You want me to stay on the show?
We invite you on the show. Yeah, we invite you on the show.
You invite me on the show. Did you pay for the show? Did you pay for the show, Edwin?
Yeah, that private business.
No, I cannot be on the show. I cannot be on the show that Western Cluster Edwin Snow money is financing. So I'm not going to be a PR.
That's not Western Cluster money. Mr. Jackson, I think you are wrong.
I will send you a bill. Since this is a paid PR for Western Cluster, I will send you a bill. And I would discount it because you're my boss brother.
Mr. Jackson, you know hell well that Western Cluster didn't pay a dime. So stop saying that rubbish.
I asked him, he said,
let me serious for once. You're a well-educated man. We shouldn't be that childish. Western Cluster didn't give us any money. Right. We shouldn't be that childish. You know very well we shouldn't do that. Do not support the integrity of the network. Do not support the integrity of the network that Western Cluster paid money to us. Don't do that. Senator Snow, can you come in, please?
I asked Edwin Snow, he said he paid.
If he paid, he's a senator.
Oh, but then I'm not going to participate on the face of the Western Cluster, a paid PR program for the Western Cluster, which Edwin Snow is the face of that. And I don't want to participate in a program
let me bring this back to Bombay. Let me bring this back to Bombay, Honorable Snow. Let me ask you about the MOU.
Stand on. No, don't do that.
But come here and say something now, because we got to move on.
You can't have Mr. Jackson come on the show, interrupt the show, talk what he wants to say, and then say he will walk out. No.
But notwithstanding, also, I cannot restrain him on the show. You know that very well.
No, I agree with that.
So make your point. Yeah.
I want you to publicly display Mr. Jackson's memo and read it to the public.
We did already. We did it on Monday. We can do it again. That's where.
Was there anything in that memo that spoke? Mr. Jackson said, "I'm willing to help. I'm prepared to." He was offering his services.
To mitigate the social, economic, and environmental consequences as mitigation. That's what we do as mitigation. I said yes.
So were you willing to?
Memo that I wrote. But
were you willing to be? Were you
willing to be a consultant? Did you give the memo to the Western Cluster? Did you give the memo to the Western Cluster? And what was the official response?
Are you done, sir?
Did you give the memo to the Western Cluster Company?
Are
And
you
what
done,
was the
sir?
official response to you?
Are
You
you
said
done,
they
sir?
said they hired ECB Jones. ECB Jones, one of the elements on the Interministerial Technical Committee in 2011, who gave this bogus concession agreement to the Western to Elenito, and they sold it for $120 million. You take the same brain and you bring that same brain in to mitigate social, economic, and environmental consequences. That is or no, Mr. Snow. That should not have been done. You should have known that Mr. ECB Jones were part and parcel.
What you call you should have known? Do I work for Western Cluster that you say you should have known?
Eddie Snow, you were in the House of Representatives when that deal was done, and you know ECB Jones was working at the Ministry of Lands, Mines, and Energy as head of the Interministerial Technical Committee. Don't act dumb. You are a very smart man. Don't act dumb, Eddie Snow.
Mr.
Yes.
Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson.
It is ECB Jones. It is ECB Jones that
Mr.
made
Jackson.
the call and said we cannot have Papa Sam Jackson to come on this or be a
Mr.
part
Jackson.
of this thing because he knows too
Jackson.
much. That's
Mr.
why
Jackson.
the consultancy was denied. So now you're accepting that's why the consultancy was denied, because you have some certain elements from the original fraud that was perpetrated, and now they are part and parcel of this new operation. That
You
is
done?
wrong, Edwin. That is very wrong.
Stanton, you have to moderate your show. You can't have this.
Also, Senator Snow is
No, I'm coming.
please.
I'm
Please
happy
speak.
tonight. I'm happy tonight that he said that's why the consultancy was denied, meaning he wanted the consultancy. Now,
Of course, I wanted the consultancy. Of course, Edwin Snow.
So you want our consultancy on the people?
To mitigate the social, economic, and environmental consequences. That's what an educated person does. You mitigate the thing. And I was going to talk about the abbreviation of the 3 years.
Okay, so Mr. Jackson, please. Mr. Jackson, please. We should allow Senator Snow to speak now.
Okay, that's it. Snow speak.
Thank you. Go ahead, Senator.
Tonight, I'm very happy that Mr. Jackson has publicly admitted that he wanted consultancy. He just told you that he wanted it, but it was denied. Thank God he's muted. He wanted consultancy, and it was denied. That's all I wanted tonight. Because Mr. Jackson came on your show, and he portrayed himself to the Liberian people as this guy who was so opposed to Western Cluster. He didn't want to hear about Western Cluster. He didn't want them to operate anywhere here because of all the constraints that he just gave. Fortunately, my appearance on your show tonight has proved my point. He just told you that his consultancy was denied. It was denied. So you can.
And it was denied because criminal elements from the old
Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, let Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, let's one at a time. Mr. Jackson, one at a time. Mr. Jackson, one at a time, please. Please. I'm backing you, Mr. Jackson, please.
Stanton, I'm so pleased tonight that I came on your show and Mr. Jackson appeared. Mr. Jackson, over the last few days, this morning he got to be on Facebook the entire day like a kid in the candy store. All day be on Facebook.
I'm retired. I can do that.
So, Mr. Jackson
I can do
has
that.
portrayed himself both on your show and on OKFM yesterday that he was so opposed to this deal and he didn't want it anywhere around here. And he had been advocating.
Mr. Jackson, just let him finish. I beg you. Listen.
And he had been advocating against this deal. But Mr. Jackson just told us tonight that his offer to provide consultancy was denied. Why would you want to provide consultancy to something that you don't believe in, that you don't want to happen in Stanton? And how did you want to provide consultancy? Then you come back and say somebody wanted to bribe you. He just admitted that he wanted to provide consultancy and it was denied. So how does that correlate to someone trying to bribe you, sir?
Okay, here is the educated answer, Mr. Snow. The educated answer is, as an educated man, and you oppose first of all, let's take this in steps. I oppose the granting of the Western cluster to El Enito, the fake company. That was the origin of my opposition, not to the development of Western cluster I was trying to portray. I was opposed to the granting of the Western cluster to a fake company that was created 21 days after the bid came out. When you call me and offer me the consultancy, and I knew that you guys were going to go ahead with that, I wrote you a memo asking you some questions about mitigating the damage and minimizing the damage because it's an election year coming, and I wanted to ensure that what you guys were doing did not undermine the re-election of George Manning Weah. So I asked questions, and so the questions I asked are very educated questions. Number one, did you do a free, private informed consent to the people of Bombing? Did you do an environmental social impact assessment? Release that to the public. You said EPA this way. Release that to the public. The third thing, let's see the engineering studies on the road to determine whether 30-ton trucks, 156 trips a year.
Senator Snow, you eat on our show, sir.
Oh, is that allowed? Sorry.
It's not allowed, sir.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Okay.
Sorry. But I can have coconut water, right?
Yes, sir.
So there is nothing wrong with a social economist and unemployment understands sustainability and saying, as much as I oppose this, I'm going to work with the company and see how we can mitigate the social, economic, and environmental consequences of the bad decision. People do that every day. Lawyers don't.
So let's go ahead. Let me bring the other guys in. Mr. Jackson, Kev, I beg you. Mr. Jackson, let me bring the other guys in. I beg you, Mr. Jackson, please consider us. We beg you. Senator Snow. Senator Snow, yeah, we are, right? Yeah, we are right now. Let's go back to the MOU and the MDA. That's what we are all interested in right now. I beg you, Kev, don't go back to Mr. Jackson, please.
Why? What? Why?
No, because I want to ask you that question.
No. I beg you. No,
Kev, go. Let go.
No.
Listen, okay, it's my time to ask question. When Kev gets his time to ask, he will ask whoever you want to ask. Okay. Now, Senator Snow, you said that the MOU has since expired, right? The terms, everything. Now, since you are one of the two senators in Bombing, can you ask question? Can you ask them now on which agreement they are operating on? Should they be allowed to operate? Yet still, the MOU done. I mean, just talk to us about the agreement they are operating on right now.
Mr. Waterspoon, before the MOU was signed, there's an MDA that's in existence. So the MDA takes effect. It clicks in. You don't have a ceremony for that.
Okay.
So as far
right there.
One minute. No.
Now, I think you answered my question. I won't go into the main juice of this question now. You answered that part. Now the MDA have taken over. But as per the MDA though, and Leo was just pushing you on that as well. It's a lot of points in that MDA. That Western cluster should meet A, B, C, all the way to Z. If they are now operating on the MDA, you as a senator, you're oversight now. Are you going to question them? Are you going to outline the things, the promise, the agreement within that MDA saying, listen, this is where we are. Why have you guys not doing X, Y, and Z? When you talk about environmental, when you talk about health, when you talk about the road, when you talk about shipping the iron ore, when you talk about money coming in. I mean, the MDA is totally different from the MOU. If you are saying that they're going back to the MDA, then don't you think Western Cluster should pause? Go over everything now and give the Bombing people what they need?
Stand on.
Yes,
sir.
The
Bombing County Legislative Caucus have been very vigilant in ensuring that Western Cluster live up to what is expected. And that's why when the citizens raised the issue about our people not being employed and they were Ghanaians, we wrote the NBC to launch an investigation and inform the Ministry of Labor. That is why when Western Cluster violated the trucking permit to truck iron ore through Tottenberg, We wrote the Ministry of Public Works, and the Ministry of Public Works took the necessary action. I can say to you now that we're going to keep their feet to the fire. They have an MDA. They'll have to live up to the MDA, and the government has been very key on that. Government has been very key on that they must live up to the MDA. Those units, they should construct the working environment for our people. Those things must be met as per the MDA. Western Cluster was asking for an amendment. Until that amendment is done and legislated, the MDA of 2011 is in full force, and it must live up to the MDA. And the government is expected, the executive branch of government is expected to take the necessary action if Western Cluster does not live up to the MDA.
They must live up to the MDA while they are still operating, shipping.
It's a registered company, Stanton. It's a registered company under the laws of Liberia. It's in existence. So you're not going to.
Yeah, it is in existence, but if you go through the MDA, I don't think they have right to operate. And we can break the MDA down. If you go through the MDA, because let me ask you a question. Let me push you a little bit. One, though the MOU expired, you have your own problem issues with the MOU. Did you voice it out? As a senator performing? Who did you talk? Did you talk to Musa Dane? Did you talk to Samuel Toy? Did you ask them why your son on this thing? This thing is bogus. Did you speak to them? Did you,
I just told you. Listen to me. No. Is that what you meant when I said of course? And I thought you meant in the execution of the MDA, of the MOU. In the execution of the MOU, I just told you when there were lapses from Western Cluster, I took the appropriate action representing the interests of the caucus. Now, I did not tell you on this show that you're using the word bogus. I don't agree with anyone that the MOU was bogus. I don't agree. I said to you, it may not have been the best document for your lens, from your landscape, but it doesn't mean that it's a bogus document. No, I don't agree with that. I think the government acted appropriately to make sure that we can have some kind of economic activity beginning in the Western region in Bomi County, and that is why Western Cluster began the operation. Now, if Western Cluster is not living up to expectation or as per the MDA, the necessary action by this government will be taken to make sure that they live up to the MDA.
Are you calling for that?
Of course. The caucus has taken that action. The caucus have already discussed it. As far as we are concerned, as a caucus of Bomi County, the MOU has elapsed. We are asking the executive to now trickle the MDA, and that Western Cluster should live up to the tenets of the MDA.
What you want the MDA to look like that to benefit the people of Bomi? Saying, listen, before you guys start any operation, this MOU expire, we want X, Y, and Z for you guys to continue. Are you calling for action in that direction? We want to see something. For example, we're gonna talk about the roads, right? The purpose. I sent the guys in Bomi. What we saw is it was discouraging. I'm going to play it. You saw something else. We allowed the audience to see something else. The next thing is that it's the environmental issue. Now we are talking about the MDA, not the MOU that have a lot of issue to me. Honorable Snow, you are the senator. Can you tell the people of Bomi, listen, I think Western Cluster should chill. They should pause. Let's revisit this MDA. Then they can continue. Let them meet some of our demands. What are you asking Western Cluster now on behalf of the people of Bomi? What are you asking from Western Cluster? What are your pressing issues? What will be your argument if you sit down with them today?
We have made clear representation to Western Cluster as a caucus that they must meet up with the employment criteria for our people. They must employ our people. They've outsourced most of their operations. Notwithstanding, there should be employment for our people. And with those employments should come with benefits as per the MDA. So we are going to make sure that...
Did the MDA talk about outsourcing?
Look, most mining companies now around the world, that's how it works. They outsource.
No, I'm asking you, this company, as per the MDA, was there anything mentioned that we will outsource?
Stanton, even ArcelorMittal that's operating in Yekimba, there are components of the operation that is outsourced.
You can
Yeah,
tell
I'm
me
just
100 of them don't. I'm asking you, the county you represent. All right.
Stanton.
Is there anything in the MDA say we have to outsource the job?
Stanton. The
Yes, sir.
MDA gave them the right, the legal authority to operate the mine. We are now saying to them, you must employ our people. Even if you have an outsource agreement, it's up to you and that company, but our people must be employed on your company, on Western Cluster. That's our demand. We can have our people there as contractors, as casual laborers, no benefit, no education benefit, no medical benefit. No, those are things that we're demanding from Western Cluster.
Thank you, Honorable Snow. Thank you. Let's go
Can I come in?
and I seriously appreciate your. Yeah, I'll bring you in, Roland. I seriously appreciate you tonight because you know why? It is why it is. I look at the way forward right now for the people of Bombay, Buffalo, and Cape Mount. So as much as we're going to press you, I hope that people can benefit from the MDA, which look very, very important. And I hope you guys can hold Western Cluster feet to the fire as per the MDA. Roland, you are going to have the chance to ask one question. We're going to go around the table because it is important, sir, that we couldn't entertain all of your questions, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Senator Snow, for coming in. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Roland. How are you?
Remember, thank you for blocking me on Facebook also. But my main thing I want to say is,
sometimes with black people. I even black Sam Jackson, so it's good to black people.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. I can still express my view of how you mean you. I mean, you are being frank. But I say that what I want to say here is that one clever thing the government in Western Cluster did to rob the people of Liberia was to sign the MOU, right? Because they know that going directly with this mineral development agreement, there were clear or there are clear incident, clear reports or clear background that states that the company should do certain things. EISA, Environmental Impact Assessment Report, Social Impact Assessment Report, feasibility studies, because under the past administration, they failed to do it and it gave them a lot of problems. They did not meet it. Coming back, in fact, the meeting, Mr. Snow said, it was Vani Sherman, the lawyer of Western Cluster, who told him to go to India, that the people wanted to come back. He said it during the groundbreaking. He said Vani Sherman approached him. And Vani Sherman is the lawyer for Western Cluster. I don't know if they still have a deal, but it is the cleverest thing to do to go about getting into this concession agreement, to sign this MOU. They went and bypassed the MOU and stating to the Liberian people, the Mineral Development Agreement, and stating to the Liberian people that they want to sign an MOU. There is nothing in the Mineral Development Agreement that calls for MOU. Everything, although in the MOU it calls for trucking, but it says certain requirements should be met, and those requirements are not met. The company did.
I think his internet went off.
What happened?
I think his internet went off.
Okay. Yeah, Roland always in and out. We hope you can come back. Listen, we're going to be bringing in another individual, but let me give Kev, Leo, and Tumani the chance to ask the question. Tumani, who are we calling?
The Director General of the Bureau of Concession.
Okay. When you make that call, just let us know, please. We're going to bring him on, please. Kev, go ahead. Then we'll go back to Leo.
Yeah, I would say, I would commend Mr. Sam Jackson today for announcing to the Liberian people that he wanted the job. And I think he been straightforward on that. I will commend him on that he wanted the job. The only part I'm a little bit confused. If you want the job, how can you call that hush money? So it's kind of like he's speaking on both sides of his mouth. Yeah, because you wanted a job. You were so you did some things, but then you say would they offer you the job, or would they ask you? You call it a hush money, so it's kind of confusing there. But it's good that you admit that you wanted a job. You know.
Can I comment, please, Kev? Can I comment?
No, let me go to.
No. You call my name. I have to respond. I have to respond. I have to respond.
No, let
You're
Kev
not gonna
finish.
get away with it.
Mr. Jackson,
You're
let
not gonna
Kev
get away
finish.
with it. I
Mr.
must
Jackson,
respond.
Mr. Jackson,
I must
you
respond.
Mr. Jackson,
You call
no.
my name.
You
I
allow
must
Kev to
respond.
finish. The best thing to do to allow Kev to finish, Mr.
Okay,
Jackson.
let him finish, but I will respond
Yes.
when he finishes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Go ahead,
You
Kev.
finish.
Senator Snow, I will go with CEO, what Stanton is saying, the way forward, how we can make it better. Now that the MOU expire, and folks want to go back to the MOU. Folks who want to go back to the MOU, they're trying to play politics on the whole issue because the MOU expire. We're talking about the MDA right now. How can we make this MDA better, or what in the MDA work best for the people of Bomi? Because the people of Bomi, to be honest with you, all those things, the people talking, all these things, now what they want job. They want to benefit from their own resources. How can the people of Bomi benefit? So all that plenty talking, the way forward that the people of Bomi can benefit. The stuff then that in the MDA, how can the people benefit from there? And when you go back on the floor, how can you push that? Instead, how can you push that for the people of Bomi to benefit for what in the MDA?
Okay, thank you very much, Kev.
No, not you. That means that.
I will answer you. I have to answer you. You call my name. I have to answer you. I will answer you. I will answer you.
Mr. Jackson, I
will answer you. I demand you made an expression on me. This is a diversion. I will answer the question. You call my name. Okay, a point of information. A point of information.
Okay, can you do that?
Let's just go back. Let's just be very clear.
Okay,
let's just go back. I was opposed to the granting of the Bocas El Anito deal. I am not opposed to operations in the Western Cluster. Let's get that very clear. I am fundamentally opposed to the last government. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. I am fundamentally opposed. Let me finish, Steph. I am fundamentally. You won't let me finish. I will finish. I am fundamentally opposed to the trucking of iron ore. Okay? But there can be mitigating circumstances. I did not apply for a job with the Western Cluster. I was offered it, and I believe that was hush. My memo then was something called CYA, cover your ass, because I knew this day was going to be coming. So I asked the hard questions that you may not understand because you don't understand the document that I wrote. I asked about environmental and social impact. I asked about the road. I asked about other things. They could not conform. They could not conform to that. And therefore, let me finish, Cap. They could not conform to that and did not apply for a job, Cap. I did not want the job. I did not want the job. They offered me a position. I gave them my conditions. That memo was my condition. The memo was my condition, Cap. The memo was my condition. 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 And because they could not fulfill the conditions I outlined in the memo, that's why they did not take my services. Because they will have to pay millions of dollars to mitigate the environmental and social consequences. Because they did not plus the criminal elements from El Anito that were around them. They did not want me to be around the Western Cluster to make it good for the people of Bomi. That's the reason why. If you had ECB Jones there, you will not want me there. You will not want me there. And ECB Jones, who compromised the Interministerial Committee and awarded this bogus contract, and now here's the same one that Edwin Snow is talking about as the one that is doing the environmental and social impact.
Mr.
So this is
Jackson,
bogus and
Jackson,
decadent. It is
Mr. Jackson,
fishy
come
all the way.
back. You said you wanted the job, Mr. Jackson. You
No,
said
maybe
you
you don't
wanted
understand
the job.
English. The job was offered, and I gave them conditions. The job was offered. The memo were the conditions, and they could not fulfill those conditions.
You said you wanted the job, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, you say you wanted a job, right?
I said to you, they offered the job, and I gave them conditions. The memo were the conditions.
Can we play that for you?
Without them clarifying those conditions, I asked questions in that memo. Can go read the damn memo. Go read the memo. Go read the memo. Maybe you don't understand the memo. The memo. They are questions asking. I did not apply for the job. I did not. They offered me the job. I gave them my conditions. They offered me the job. I gave them my conditions.
You said you wanted the job.
They offered me the job. I gave them conditions. I gave them conditions.
Agree that you wanted the job.
No, I did not want a job just like that. I gave you conditions. I gave conditions, and those conditions were not conformed to. Therefore, my man, you want to go?
Don't do that.
You are the one with people bombing. You are the one who is a son of bombing. You are the one with a son of bombing that does not read a memo that outlining the social, economic, environmental consequences of operating.
You're doing your job that you wanted.
It's my job as an American citizen. If you offer me a position with a company, I have terms and conditions. I'm giving you terms and conditions. I gave you terms. The memo outlined the terms and conditions. The memo outlined terms and conditions.
I tell you have to apologize to the senator.
No, you must apologize to me and the senator. Yeah.
Me, senator for nothing.
The senator offered me a consultancy to Western Cluster. I felt it was hush money. It was designed. But why didn't they reply? Why didn't they reply my memo? Why didn't they reply my memo? Did they reply the 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 memo?
Thank you, Cap. Thank you. Leo, can you come in, Leo?
Did they reply the memo?
I can come in.
Yeah, let Leo come in.
Thank you, Stanton.
Thank you.
And I would just like to say, Senator Snow, based on everything you know now, and like we say in hindsight, and everything you've seen and how things have unraveled for you, will you say you made the right judgment call to the best of your ability, looking at everything as it is, or do you think you owe some accountability here to the people of Bummy for decisions that when you look at now the way this has unraveled that you would have done differently when you look at the way it is now in the best interest of Bummy? And can you say on this show, because for me accountability is key, that the MDA that you're saying everybody should go to, that the MDA is the best agreement in place right now that can give the people of Bummy the most value for their mineral resources? Can you say that of the MDA, as everyone now is saying, go back to the MDA? Those would be my two questions for you.
Thank you, Leo. Leo, taking into consideration the condition, the economic condition of our people in the Western region, with emphasis on Bummy County, if I was to do everything that I did before with this MOU, getting Western Cluster to open, and the government of Liberia giving all of the $5 million to the 3 counties, if I was to do it all over again, I would still do the same thing, because for me, it took us.
But Senator Snow, that was not the question. The question was everything that has happened now. The money did not go. All of those things did not go. So I'm asking, would you make that same decision?
Chief, I'm answering your question. So in speaking in context of everything that I did, A to Z, to get Western Cluster to begin economic activities in Bummy County and begin to have some level of relief. Am I satisfied with it? Is it at my expectation? Not yet. But there's some activities going on in Bummy County. So because of that, like I said on the show a few weeks ago, I go to bed and I sleep well because I know that I acted in good faith, I meant well, and I still mean well for the people of Bowman County. As regards the MDA, Leo, yeah, MDA, yeah, everybody crying for and say it's the best MDA. Guess what? And I'm sure Mr. Jackson might tell you about it. The Unity Party-led government, under Madam Salif, there was a big fight with the executive and the Bowman County Legislative Caucus on the MDA every day. Every day. They said the MDA was not the best document. They should not truck the O. They should not do this. There was a big fight every day. So I'm happy today that we're announcing the MDA is the best document. For me, I would want a renegotiation of the Western Cluster Agreement. I would want this document to be renegotiated because this MDA, it calls for trucking of the ore. In the MDA, gave them 3 years to truck the ore. The sticker issue here that we all have had. The first thing, just today I was talking, and it's unfortunate that the trucking company or the company responsible for haulage is a Liberian company. And I'm surprised that for the last 1 month, the whole Western Cluster thing has been in the air, and this company has said nothing. Number one, they don't have 78 trucks. It's not true. It's a Liberian company. They have, I think, 40 trucks from what they told me, and I believe them. It's owned by a man in America called Bidel Sandy. Everybody on this show knows Bidel Sandy. He owns it, and he's been in this business for many, 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 many years. So he didn't create this business because of Western Cluster. He's a Liberian. The trucking company contract is awarded to Liberians. It's called Bidel Sandy. He owns 40 trucks. That's one. Number two, everybody been saying 50 tons of iron ore. It's not true. There's a weight bridge up on the mine, monitored by the government representative and the company representative. You cannot exceed 30 tons, 30 tons. So the issue with 78 trucks is not true. The issue with 50 tons of ore. So if people like Mr. Jackson have the information that they're trucking 50 tons of ore, they will have the concern that he's having now. Yeah, because I'm coming, sir. No, I'm coming. So there are some misleading information that has blew all the beside the politics of it. The politics of it, I really don't care. I mean, I'm a politician. People want to do politics. They can do politics. But when we come to, for example, Spoon came on the network, which I respect a lot, and showed somebody with chalk on the face and said that people in Bowman County being affected. I went to Bowman County on the radio.
You want to look for that person?
I went on the radio station, and now this show is aired on the radio. People text me from Bowman now. And I said, if there's anybody that ever got any skin rash from Western Cluster, please come also, we can see you. Not only on the radio, the town hall meeting we just had in Tottenham. I stood up in that meeting, I made the same request. Spoon reported that there's a building there called FTI, the Forestry Training Institute. The building is cracking, and when they blast the iron ore, the mine, everything cracking. I went to FTI, visited this campus, and I made a public announcement in Bowman. If anybody resident is affected, please come out. Let's see you so we can flag the issue. Maybe it's true, but nobody has come out. So my issue here is the Western Cluster D the best we can offer our people? I'll say no. I would say no. But given the circumstances and to get some form of economic activities in the county that has no economic activity, let's start from somewhere. And as Stanton just said, let's collectively get together and find a way forward to give a better deal for the people of the Western region. That's where I'm opting for.
Just a quick listen to the snow on this on Stanton is that. So my piece on this to close on this Stanton would be where I'm confused is Senator Snow with the power that's in the Senate. I'm seeing this fight happening everywhere else within the government, except the kind of pressure that should be mounted in the Senate for this MDA to have been opened a long time ago. Like you said, Senator Snow, you were aware of this. I know when you came to the Senate, and unfortunately, and you could correct me if I'm wrong or educate me if I'm wrong on this, we have not seen the level of fire that we're seeing outside with all the negotiations and push going on for the people of Bowman. I'm not seeing that within the Senate, the fire that's supposed to be in the Senate floor, literally. And we are out here where we got senators from Bowman County who are in the Senate and not opening this MDA like months ago. Opening the MDA, if it needs to be fixed, fix it. And if it doesn't need to be fixed, if it is good enough, then let get the company doing. But there was extraordinary effort to get an MOU, and it was moved with expeditious speed to get Western Cluster started. But for some reason, when it comes to the real MDA, which is the main document we should be relying on, the Senate is not having the same kind of zest. We're not seeing the same power. So I will hope that the Senate can now get, because these short-term deals, as we're seeing, I mean, I agree, it might bring a short-term relief, but then the people go right back to square zero. So why can we get the Senate to fix the one MDA once and for all? We can see Bomi senators fighting on the Senate floor for this MDA to be fixed, as you have actually stated.
Okay, yeah. My last point, Senator.
Very good,
Senator,
sir. Just to let you know that the Senate or the legislature has been closed for the last 2-3 months. The legislature opened. Today is Wednesday. We formally opened on Monday. Yesterday was the first session. Tomorrow will be session. And I know already, both from the House of Representatives and the Senate, lawmakers have been flagging the issue out of text messages, telephone conversation, and the Western Cluster MDA is going to be a tough topic on the floor of the Senate. So yes, the senators, the representatives are not insensitive to the needs of the Liberian people, to our responsibility of representing our people, and the Western Cluster issue is going to be a very major issue on the floor of the legislature. You can take it from me.
Okay. Senator Snow, let me just say something before I go.
No. I will not answer your question, sir. No.
Don't answer it. But
let it go around. When it comes to you, when they recognize you,
I need to go.
You can do this for this show. No. Stand up. I'm serious about this. Mr. Justin Addo come on the show. When you recognize him, he ask me a question, I answer. You can't just come in, you pop in, you go get text message or somewhere, then you pop in, then
text
you disrupt the show.
Okay.
Somebody go ahead.
Senator Snow, just quickly before I have my question. You earlier said that you represent the caucus. Which one of the caucus signed the MOU? Any member of the caucus?
But you mean they signed it? Nobody signed it. Nobody from the legislature signed the MOU.
Okay, I heard you say you represent the caucus. I want to ask that question.
No member of the legislature signed the MOU. The MOU was only signed by the executive, and I think the executive did a good job in the interest of the people of the Western region.
Okay, now with this stuff pending right now, can you and Western Cluster tell the people how much job will be created for the people of Bomi? Because there's no job plan or schedule C. So can you tell us how many jobs will be created after everything is done? How much jobs will be created for the people of Bomi? And lastly, the Ghanaians, now that you guys have come to this, it's out there. Can you tell the Ghanaians, can you make the Ghanaians to leave and the Liberians get that job the Ghanaians are holding right now? Is it possible?
Let me be clear on this one with you. All right. I just sent you a document from LETI on this whole Western Cluster thing. So if you look at it, it talks about it. It's a document from 2015 December. So it's a document that will be telling you about the size of the investment. I sent it to you also. That will tell you the size of the investment, all of the different issues. Kev, I think I sent it to you also. So that will come into the job creation. In the MDA, I think it's clearly stated there, the migration schedule. So in year 1, what is expected, in year 2, it's a 25 years agreement that is signed by the government of Liberia and Western Cluster. It's a 25 years agreement. So they will talk about the job creation and what is expected of the company. The second question was what again, sir?
Oh, the Ghanaians.
Yeah, Timberlane, let me be fair with you. And in as much as Mr. Jackson and I disagree on a lot of things, the way the mining sector works today, or most sector work, things are outsourced. People outsource a catering service, security, blasting, this. Today, the contract to do the blasting was awarded to a Ghanaian company. Like, again, I'll go to Metal Steel, like I'll go to MNG Gold. Things are outsourced. Our involvement or interest in this is that give us, and that's where the labor ministry comes in. It's not the work of the caucus. The Liberian law says that to issue a working permit in Liberia, you must issue that work permit to a foreigner that can do the job that a Liberian is not qualified to do. So the labor ministry and when you said just now that the NBC guy was coming on the air, I was very excited because I wrote him, and I think he's been following up and he's been doing a lot of work. I wish you could call him. That would be a key person on this show tonight.
I asked the guy from the studio to call him because he having connection with direct call from the ground. So see you.
Okay, so that what you are seeing, and I work in this region. I work in the West African region. I have sat on cases where there have been discrimination. They do some of the ECOWAS protocols. It's very tricky when you talk about these things. But our law is our law. I would say to the labor ministry, and maybe you're right, moving forward, we can engage the labor ministry, that even though they've outsourced this component to a foreign company, to a Ghanaian company, if there's somebody that just will take the same Jackson say to take the electric shovel and load the truck, that's a job that Liberian can do. Then the labor ministry should not issue a work permit for that foreigner to do that job. But I can't come here tonight. I mean, this show right now, I got people from all this region texting me, following this show. I'm an ECOWAS parliamentarian. So to go now and say, no, send all the Ghanaians home, do this, do that. I think if there are Liberians that are qualified for these jobs, the Liberians should be given an opportunity and not the foreigner. That would be my position.
Can I come in now?
We have to go. Let's bring in Mr. Jackson. Mr. Snow, just bear with us for another 10 minutes because seriously, we have to go. Mr. Jackson.
Senator Snow, this is where you went wrong, and very wrong against the people of Bomi. All of the problems you are having now could have been easily resolved if you had competence in the implementation of this MOU, the agreement, and the processes that were necessary. And I will refer you back to my memo. And my memo was an educated understanding of what was going on. I asked free, prior, and informed consent of people in the project affected area. It means you must have not just one town hall meeting. People in the project affected areas meet along the road from Bomi Hills to Douala, and all of the community engagements. That's free, prior, and informed consent. The engineering, okay, and all of these things should have been embedded in the feasibility study. Public information was poorly managed. That's why you are coming up, you're sweating, and you're having all these issues. And you said there was an environmental impact assessment done by NPA. Make that public. Let experts take a look at that. But I'm very suspicious when you say ECB Jones, the man who gave out the bogus concession agreement, did it for you. That's exactly why my offer from you guys to come as a consultant was retracted, because ECB Jones does not want Sam Jackson anywhere near that, because we'll be doing the right thing. We'll be looking at the community. Okay, and sustainability. And you know about linkages. Edwin Snow, you should know about linkages. You're talking about Ghanaian companies in their crushing. Requirements of the MDA, certain percentage of jobs, even though they're outsourced, they should be given to Liberian companies. And then the economic and social return. How much revenue is going to the government of Liberia? Contribution to GDP. Okay? The safety of the people. You made that mistake. Accept the fact that you made a mistake. You did not characterize this thing by enough public information. You went out there with the best intention, but when other people sought to get involved and provide guidance, for whatever reason, you decided to do this. And Edwin Snow, you and I have no issue. The issue you have is with the people of Bomi. You need to go to explain to the people of Bomi why you are trucking their ore on roads. Instead of them building roads, they could have built a dedicated road. They're filling potholes on that road. And I spoke to a public health expert. The trucks are not covered, Edwin. The iron ore on that truck is coming through the air. And the environmental consequences may not show up today, but they can show up 25 and 30 years from now. Have you thought about that? Let's Fix this, Edwin Snow. Nobody wants to deny the people of Western Cluster jobs and opportunity, but you cannot do a stopgap mismatch things with a lot of ill will and bad faith. That's where I'm coming from. That's all I have to say. God bless you, and God bless the people of Western Cluster. Thank you. That's all.
Can I say something now? Mr. Waterspoon, can I say something now? Stanton, you are muted.
All right, sir. So I was just trying to give Mr. Jackson a chance to express himself, but Honorable Snow, if you have any final thing, my only advice, I would start with this. I think we have come to a place in our life as Liberians. We should capitalize on that which we can fix and make the people of Bombing life better. They depend on you and your leadership, Honorable Snow. I'm not advising you. I'm speaking as a Liberian to do that which is right, that their life can be improved with what they have, the natural resources. Bombing can be a better place. So I like the fact that you are now going back to the MDA. They don't have promise to look into it. Or the senator that reached out to me and saying they're going to be on your back, on your caucus, the Bombing Legislative Caucus, but you guys can, including Maurice Setuma and the rest of them, that you guys can do the right thing for the folks. The people need the job. It may not be looking good right now, but it can be better. And I hope you guys can listen to the crowd and just bring them on, bring them along. It's a good thing that we flag this issue. And I'm saying that everybody in and all of Liberia appreciate the fact. We may not be 100%, folks. All of you that listen to us every night. But something is happening here. The people are resolved to hold the leaders accountable. And what we are seeing, what we are hearing, we appreciate your strength as Liberian people from Bombing, Kipman, Bopolu, that fix it. Don't sport it. Don't let it go. And I believe Western Cluster is willing to work with you guys. Is that your dog, Timali? Or that's no dog?
My dog.
Okay. Because so I would just ask everyone on our voices tonight. Let's just stop the crowd. Let's just stop the personal attack. Let's just calm down and let's find a solution. I'm happy that Delon and the rest of them trying to do that which is right. Sir Joseph, Delon, everybody trying to step in to say yes, this thing need to be fixed.
I thought Mr. Jackson said Delon was one of those that were trying to bribe him to another talk.
Yeah, it's the past. You know, if we hold on to the past, we'll destroy this thing. We'll destroy our country. I'm happy that the government, under the leadership of President Weah, is instructing folks to come along and fix this thing for the sake of Bombing. Let's put aside politics and let's just be a better nation. I say thank you, Honorable Snow. You took a lot of beating and you will take more. But be resolved and let's just do this for the people of Bombing. To the folks in Bombing, I know, you know, it is painful, but be patient. Western Cluster probably will do better when the government hold their feet to the fire and you have that which you deserve.
So let me talk Sam Jackson gone.
So Sam Jackson is still here. He just went in the back.
My woman passing. I want you to see my woman.
And the woman passing. Don't. You gotta block himself.
Yeah, my woman passing the goal, so I didn't want you to see her.
Let's get us Snow.
Man, in front of you, so the Snow.
I respect my wife. I didn't want her to see.
He's not 70 years old for nothing. He's 70 years old with trouble. But we want to say thank you, Honorable Snow. Do your closing, sir. Thanks.
So Stanton,
yes,
let me say thanks to you. Let me say thanks to the audience. People have formed their opinion on this matter. Coming on your show today was a difficult decision, but I felt that I owe it to the public. The main reason I came on your show tonight, hey, come on, guys, hey, sorry. The main reason I came on your show tonight was to clear the air that Mr. Jackson was not offered a bribe. And fortunately, Mr. Jackson vindicated me tonight that he offered his services, or he was approached and he was approached and he consented to render consultancy, and he was turned down. And he was not turned down.
I was booted out because the bad people you have on the deal don't want me to be around. So just say that. The bad people don't want me to be around. So you were not vindicated. That was hush money.
Mr. Jackson, the senator is closing. Please allow him to close.
The story in the Bible with the half bucket. Say on the with the cutting, they went down to Louis Brown and to cut the baby in half. That was doing it tonight.
I hope you know your scripture, though.
That was I shouldn't be like Louis Brown. Right. So let me just say this. I'm very happy tonight. It was a very difficult decision to come on this show. My family, people, very close relations, asked me just leave this thing, don't say anything, and I defy odds, all odds. And I'm happy tonight that Mr. Jackson had made it clear that he wanted to provide consultancy, and he was
I was offered, and I gave you my conditions, and you did not fulfill my conditions because you wanted to deal with criminal elements who gave the bookers concession. That's why apparently there was a retraction of the consultancy. That is the position. I live and die by that. You are not going to switch this and make this any other way to vindicate.
You know he's taking my time, man.
I will take your time.
Mr. Jackson.
I will take your time.
No, Mr. Jackson.
Okay,
Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, please, with all the respect I have for you, my
why did you offer me consultancy?
Let him close.
Did I ask you that I'm looking like I'm begging for consultancy?
We gotta go, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, we gotta go, please. Mr. Jackson, let Honorable Snow speak. Mr. Jackson, let Honorable Snow speak, please. Mr. Snow, please go ahead.
Then we're not cutting the baby in half. We end the show tonight. We're not cutting the baby in half.
Why did you offer me consultancy? Why?
Because you're qualified.
I will say this though. I gotta get off. I got a plane to catch.
Why did you offer me consultancy?
You can't do that. But then mute him.
Mr. Jackson, please. When you finish talking, we'll bring him back. I got a flight to catch.
No, but you can't do that. You allow Mr. Jackson to talk. I didn't say a word. And then I'm talking.
You know, it's hard. It's very hard to mute a 70-year-old man.
Because you can mute him.
It's very hard to mute a 70-year-old man.
You can mute him if you wanted to. You can mute him. But let me say this: until tonight, Liberia and Spoon did not know that Mr. Jackson wanted to be consultant for Western Cluster.
Mr. Jackson did not want. He was offered a consultancy. He gave me his condition.
He put everybody under the impression.
He was offered a consultancy.
If you can't mute this man, he's taking my time. I have to talk. You got to be fair. It's deliberate. Because you can mute him right now. Timothy George is muted. Keith Hassan is muted. But you bring Sam back to disrupt the show.
No. You got to understand. They're allowed to unmute themselves. This is how it works. So,
now,
go ahead.
Until tonight, the whole world and all of you in the studio thought that Mr. Jackson was this perfect guy who was fighting against this deal for the people of Burma. Later that you all knew that Mr. Jackson wanted to be consultant for this company, and because he did not get a consultancy, he been flying all over the place and said he was giving hush money. Stanton, you are a businessman. How can you say I wanted to the document Mr. Jackson wrote? He did not write it out of the blue sky. He wrote it because that was his way of coming in as a consultant. So he was giving his paper now to show that he's this guy that will provide consultancy, and that's why this issue came about. Mr. Jackson was not given promised hush money. There was no bribe involved here. There were people that made representation. Mr. Jackson and I spoke about it. We exchanged text messages about this matter. And therefore, I want to say to you and your audience tonight, think what you want to think. But tonight, I feel so good that Mr. Jackson was not this patriotic Liberian that had been speaking. He wanted to be a consultant. When the deal did not go through, he got upset and he'd been flying all over the place on Facebook and attacking. Thank God to Mr. Jackson, he admitted himself. Thank God to Spoon FM or Spoon TV that you afforded me this opportunity tonight to clear my side. The Western Cluster deal is not the best deal for our people. No, we will make it better. We'll keep their feet to the fire. But our aim and the aim of this government is to ensure that there's economic activities in the Western region. But we'll not do it by any means. We'll do it properly to make sure our people are the prime beneficiary of our action. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Snow. Have a very good night. And my regards to the family. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you,
yes,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sen
Can I
Johnson,
respond? Can I respond?
Yes, sir.
Okay, first of all, if this was an attempt to vindicate Senator Snow for offering me a consultancy to lure me into this decadent deal, I sent him my terms and conditions reflected in the memo. They could not conform to the terms and conditions of the memo, and I had said nothing. He drew me into this by saying I was giving you. And we'll prove one thing tonight, that I did not give you questions to Senator Snow. I never did that. And he lied on you. Okay. And number two, out of the clear blue sky, if you know that I have been against this deal for over 11 years, why would you offer me a consultancy? And you know that I'm fundamentally opposed to this deal. So that was not done in good faith. It was not done in good faith. It was done in bad faith. That's why I wrote a memo giving them my terms and conditions. And they could not fulfill those terms and conditions. And that's why I am not part of that. And that is the reason why I can stand up strong and beat my chest that I am a patriotic. Let's contrast me and Edwin Snow in terms of our public persona. That's all I would have to say. Let the Liberian people decide between me and Edwin Snow who is speaking the truth and who has stood up for social justice in this country. Me versus Edwin Snow. Let the public be the judge. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
God bless you, my pop. Take care, Mr. Jackson. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Also, tomorrow, George, while we wrap this thing up, because I have to go and my flight is in the next 2 hours. I hope I make it at the airport. I want to say to you, Georgie, seriously speaking, it was a good show. I appreciate the fact that Snow came on, Sam Jackson, the people of Bowman and Liberia will decide. But let's just move forward. Look, that's all I'm asking for. And I'm just asking everyone. We have crowd, we beat on them. It's an open book. Let's just move forward. Let the people of Bowman benefit. No one should take advantage of the situation, to enrich themselves, that we can be insulting each other, while the Indian folks take away the resources. Let's hold them accountable. And let's make good news, a better outcome of this MDA that they have now gone back to because the MOU has expired. So to all of our many folks, we want to say thank you. Thank you always for joining. You may not like us, some of our statements, but we appreciate you. The questions, the arrangement, but Spoon Talk is your Spoon Talk. And every day you come to listen to us, we are grateful. Thanks a lot. From my end, I want to say it was a good show. Tomorrow is Thursday. We'll be having a wonderful program here. And we just can't wait Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We are yet to stay. And we are yet to the election. Sentuman and Josh, Kev Hassan. I think I'm done though.
Well, it was a good show, and I just hope that Snow would have allowed Fagon to take part to. I'm sure he would have ended tonight too. He would have confronted and whatever question he had to put it forward, but it was his choice for him not to come. He said that he paid for his program, he wanted to come. So, but yet and still, the issue of bombing. One of the things I listen about this whole thing, Stanton, is that most of the officials involved. For instance, take for example this ECB Jones guy. President Study fired that guy for corruption, but he was involved again. Tesla Murray, the Minister of Lands and Mine, he was fired too. And you got even the President of the Liberian Senate. So why would these guys see these bad actors and still getting involved in such a thing? It's a problem.
But can I ask you a question? Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. Because Madam Sally fired them, so are they not Liberian? Can they not be rehired?
But what they were fired for? Corruption, right? So what they do due diligence. And that's why it was done in secret. Most of it was done in secret. The public were not aware of what's happening. But I think if they had put their name out there, they were connected with this deal, people would have raised alarms. But when we putting these guys getting involved, when the guys were all fired for corruption business, okay, they will have come and say, they will prove to the people that they were clear. I'm not having a problem with people who were in another administration and getting involved. No, but depending on what you were fired for, where you left, what were your past. You cannot associate people with bad behaviors to come make something good for the people. No, they'll come there with their own. They will not leave their crop behind. Come with the same bad behavior for their own interest. And most of the things that happen, we see one for personal benefits, because we cannot find today how many jobs the bombing people will get from this Western cluster deal. Nobody can tell us how much jobs they will get, how much jobs will be created. We cannot, we just cannot find it. So it's sad. But at the end of the day, it's a clear eye open for Liberians who will be electing lawmakers again. You got 73 lawmakers to elect, plus 15 senators. If you sit down and these people will be if you not scrutinize these people thoroughly, you elect them, it's up to you. Because most of the time, the people get elected, they only for their own interests. They really don't do it for the greater good or they say, yeah, we're doing it for the people until they come to the public. And you see what's happening now. And the people are bombing. Yeah, I know slowly and ready they want people to get jobs, but I think they should do everything according to the law, legally, so that people can say yes, they follow the letter of the law. That you see the MGA, everything they say in that MGA, follow through, but the German sign an MOU. When all the things are was sitting to be done in the MGA, it wasn't followed. And then they started to come over MOU that undermine the very MGA. So we just pray that for going forward, concession agreements should be relatively thoroughly done. That's why today, we have a bad concession agreement. We have a bonfire stone from 1926, not a bad one. And today we'll see what happened. So it's just so bad for our people, and we pray our people do the best, the right thing,
Thank you, Sintomani. You raised some good points. I want to say thank you very much as always, man. That's why we are here on Spoon. To flag this issue. Liberia is all we have. We hope we can make it better together. But the days of insulting, fighting, and let's just grow up and ask the question and help build a better Liberia. Kev, that's my position, man.
Yeah,
Just move on.
your position is well taken, great position. But the only problem we get, that selective, how will put it. I see when I hear my brother Tony that talking about, oh, you fire the government, you get in the government, then why they doing it? But it's the guy who's supporting Louis Brown, who on TRC report as the face of Mr. Cummings. You see, when you do that to the Liberian people, my brother Tommy and George, some of the people who sit around and say, oh, but this guy who was saying Louis Brown, the same woman, Louis Brown, why you said this? Men who on TRC report, like, because crime.
I beg you, but Louis Brown getting him for take Louis Brown name all of this one.
Yeah, but it's something saying this. Oh, my brother, probably.
What you do that one?
But hey, let me move forward. You see,
but talk to the guy that arrested himself and brought to Labrador. Talk to the guy. Talk about him.
What are we talking about? No, why are we talking about that?
Gentlemen, we have a wonderful evening.
The guy that arrested himself and brought to Labrador. Talk about him.
It's not our conversation, that ANC conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, that ANC conversation.
Yeah,
somebody ate Mr. Cummings' money, they will find the person.
Okay,
now business about your behind
I'm just saying,
you get kind of money.
I'm just saying with your selective justice.
Why
Finish that on me. They still gotta go.
Yeah, my man, I gotta go, bro.
GMB will be a store run tomorrow.
But again, CEO, you cannot. But if I say CEO, I want job in your office in Florida. I just cool there, and then I turn around, something I want, turn around and say, "Oh, you bribing me?" The hush money. that's why when folks insulting me, they're thinking that Joe, I could sit on, man. That's why.
I'm going to put the ANC there. I get the ANC.
So that's why sometimes when people say,
That's our sister Teola Gibson.
That's so. Let me wrap up this one. That's why
Okay.
people think my position. They beat on me for my position, but when somebody wants to advocate, you have to advocate freely for the people, not because at night you get it, in the morning you're advocate. No, you cannot be working at night. You know, you're Nicodemus at night. You're in the morning, when you get it, they say, oh, in the morning I will be advocate. No, you can't do it. You gotta be an advocate at night and the day. I will not say anything about you.
Let's say Ambassador Joseph and
But so long you at night you're not an advocate, in the day you want to be advocate, I will be on your back and I will attack you. You can say,
I'm shy. I'm shy. Thank you, Kev. But I'm gonna hold my peace because I've said enough. Just so Mr. Jackson wanted a job. He should have just gone and said, "Well, man, y'all found something for me. Let me get that job."
You say, I want
Mr. Jackson. Because Mr. Jackson said on the show that he wanted a job. How can he say he wanted a job? They said we don't have it, and he get mad, and now he's advocate. But Mr. Jackson,
he said the terms and condition. He said terms and condition.
The best say he wanted a job.
The man
he wanted a job. They said that hush money with a good fit. Imagine he's a Liberian with a good fit. That the snow and folks within the executive branch saying,
I want to hear tomorrow.
Let's give it to this well-qualified man.
I like wait. I like this guy. I like Timothy Josh. I like the man. Gonna air Remy Great. Bring him on the show one day.
Oh,
look at him, man.
Gonna great. Why don't you spoon talk? Just
gonna air Remy Great. How dare you be? Everything I say, you were flaking. Yeah, that is a problem, though. It's not my problem no more. Whether Interpol arrested the guy, brought the guy back to Liberia, whatever the case may be, that ANC problem. Yeah, but tomorrow JMB will be doing a function. The president of Liberia is undertaking a function too. Again, folks, what I would do on the show moving to the election.
What's UP headquarters?
So that you the PR person giving the announcement now?
Wow. Then tomorrow, if you're not back, then you start saying this sabotage, right?
But me too, for the fact that JB been in the news, tomorrow he will draw the crowd. But
I remember what Tumale Joe said.
What happening?
Let me say this. I really don't want to say it, but what Tumale Joe said, trust me, Costa will shut down the airport. Trust me, from the airport to EWA, go get your market early. Because let me finish. Somebody, I'm begging you. Allow me to finish. I beg you, my dear brother.
So the rest of the guys
my ex-brother-in-law, allow me to finish. My ex-brother-in-law, don't change the conversation. Somebody said, trust me. I'm telling you, that boy will shut down the nation. And if he does, that man will be president tomorrow. I'm telling y'all, y'all better listen to me. So I said to Mane, Costa did extremely well. He went to Liberia. He did what he wanted to do, and that's fine. Everybody for the just cause. And now, again, my brother, let's wait and see JMB operation tomorrow.
I said tomorrow, watch it.
Let's wait and see JMB operation tomorrow.
I'll see what happens tomorrow.
Okay.
Tell me at what time?
1 o'clock.
You know the time off.
Keep an eye on
the location. The location. So Spoon invited to money?
Everybody invited, I know.
Folks, it was a wonderful show.
I'm independent, so I get no party, so I can't say anything. I'm for nobody.
I know, but I will miss my
people hearing you, right? You know if people hearing you, right? when you say that you're independent, you know the people here. Somebody, you know the Liberian people that are smart people, right? You know the very
somebody, let me say something. Kev, ask me a question. Kev, ask me if somebody independent. Ask me.
Independent.
Somebody independent.
Somebody they're independent.
Independent.
Anything but your we are at somebody party. Any party but your we are.
Independent.
Yes.
You any party? Any party but your we are party. That money party. You ain't independent.
Independent.
But my man, Choji, to each his own, my brother. You do you. Yeah. You know, that's what we do on Spoon Talk. We can't get fair with each other. We laugh, we joke, and we move on. And Ben on his way to Ghana. When he come back, he'll be sweating again and say, when he come back, he'll be sweating again and say, Tula, you better leave me alone. I got no blood in my vein for Tula.
You're not independent.
Tula, I'm not an independent person though. Don't get it twisted though.
That should keep posting.
Yeah.
Tula, keep posting.
Oh, you're black, huh?
I
mean, I can try to
Kev, instead of men trying to tell the PYG, they threatening PYG. PYG will flip on now.
I mean, I gotta go. You have a good one, yeah. Good day, I'll talk to y'all. By God's grace, we're having a show. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Georgie, I don't mean to cut you off, but you know I gotta catch my flight.
Yeah, no.
All right. So, Kev, I'll talk to you later. All right, boss. Y'all take care.
You want to get a news update, my brother Tuto Spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia Tuto Spoon.
Well, folks, thanks to all of you for joining this edition of the program Spoon Talk. The show returns tomorrow with another fascinating edition of the program. Thanks to all of you that followed through all of our mediums here. James Goode Flomo was on the other side coordinating alongside me. I'm Aaron Kuban, bidding you a pleasant next rest from Moravia and other parts of the world. Thanks to all of you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.